Welcome to the Face of Music podcast. What is up, everybody? My name is Matt, and I'm your host. On today's episode, we have the Week 16 Top 10s, a brand new segment, and this week's very special guests, Dan and Kevin of Gaveldown. Great time with these guys. Stay tuned. You ready? Let's do it. What is up, my friends? How y'all doing? Week 16, this is crazy to me. It's 4 months of bringing you guys the podcast. 4 months of top 10s and interviews and you guys letting me into your lives for a few hours every week. Thank you all so much for tuning in and listening to what I have to say. I hope you're having just as much fun as I am. Thank you again to my friends in Pathmaker for coming on the show last week. You guys were an absolute blast. Pathmaker is one of my must-see bands at MGR Fest this year, so make sure that you check them out. I can't wait to have you guys back on the show at some time. You guys are always welcome. For my first-timers, welcome to the Face of Music family. I'm very, very happy that you found your way here. When you're listening, it's our time to just hang out together, so forget about the insanity of life, forget about all the negativity and all the bullshit. This is a politics-free, worry-free, stress-free podcast. I'm here to talk with you about music and once in a while check in on your mental health. There's too much fucked up shit happening in this world. This is our escape from all of that. For all my returning listeners, welcome back, my friends. Thank you for listening week after week, and thank you for joining me once again for another episode of the Face Music Podcast. You guys know what's up by now. You know what I'm all about. I love you guys, and you are truly the best. Anybody have any cool plans this weekend? Drop them down in the comments. Let me see what you got going on in your lives. Assuming that you're listening to this when it comes out, which means it's Friday, baby. The weekend is here. So if you're around this Saturday, come hang out with me at the Resist the Temptation show at Whiskey Rocks in West Babylon. This place used to be Sinclair's Pub. It's $10 to get in, but it's a long, all-night, solid night of music. I'll see you guys there. Whether this is your first episode or your 16th, I'm humbly and kindly asking you for your support. There's a few very fast and very free ways to do this. One, just follow the podcast on Instagram, on Spotify, on YouTube. Number two, interact with the posts, even if it's something as little as liking it or voting on a poll on Instagram. And lastly, number three, just share something. If you listen to the show, odds are you're going to know somebody else who would also be into it. So tell them what's up. I appreciate all the love and all the support, and I will never take that for granted. You guys are, like I said before, the best. I started this podcast 14 weeks ago. It's new-ish, but it is a product of a major life change, losing my job. Now, I have talked about this a little bit on the show here and there. Yes, it is still very upsetting all these months later. It was a very traumatic thing for me, truthfully. It wasn't just a job. It was something I gave my heart and soul to for a very long time, and it set back a lot of the positive changes that were in motion for my wife and I this year. To keep it 100% honest with you, I was extremely depressed, my anxiety was through the roof, and I had no idea how to make the next move. I found a lot of solace in starting this podcast. It helped me talk it out, to let go of what was keeping me down in life, and it allowed me to grow and discover a bit more about myself. Very much like seeking therapy. A therapist will listen to you, they will ask questions, and they'll help you see things from a new perspective. They can give you advice and techniques to help make positive changes in your life. BetterHelp is the sponsor of this video, and they're on a mission to start making therapy easier. Fill out a questionnaire and you'll match with a therapist in as little as a couple days. Easily switch therapists at any time at no extra cost if it's not the right fit for you. With over 7,000 reviews and a 4.3 rating on Trustpilot, BetterHelp is a platform that you can trust. Click the link in the description or go to betterhelp.com/facethemusic and get 10% off your first month of therapy. Thank you to BetterHelp for sponsoring today's video. I appreciate what you do for so many people. Being as May is Mental Health Awareness Month, it is very important. This month as well as every month, by the way. I'm an advocate for taking care of your mental health 12 months a year, 365 days a year. It's so important, guys. It really is. Find an outlet. If you don't have an outlet, talk to somebody. If you can't talk to somebody, please go higher. Go talk to a therapist. There's no shame in it. There should never be shame in it. It's not a stigma. You need to take care of you. Always remember, you have to put on your own oxygen mask before you can help somebody else. This week's top 10, we hear from Hatebreed, from Jonathan Gunther, from Killswitch Engage, Suicide Silence, Shadows Fall, Dead Within Days, Seven Dust, Lost Becomes, Trivium, and Beartooth. As always, you'll hear all the clips of the top 10 on Spotify episodes, but unfortunately, YouTube snitches if you want to upload music, so if you are watching this on YouTube, I'm apologizing in advance, the clips won't be featured. But that is not to worry, you can still listen to the full songs over on the Face of Music Top 10s playlist over on Spotify. The code is also, it's always at the end of the top 10 every week, and it's in the link on my socials, so you'll always have access to find it if you need it. Before we start our top 10 this week, though, I want to make special mention that it is June, and that means that it is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, which, as a man, this is an important topic for me. My kings, take care of yourselves. The stat line for male suicide is terrifyingly high. Globally, it's 12.8 per 100,000 suicide deaths a year for men. So please make sure that you're taking care of your mental health. And if you need someone to talk to anybody, guys. Talk to me. I don't care. Reach out. I'll talk to you. Talk about whatever you need. But if it's something that's a little bit more urgent, I feel like maybe you should get the help that you actually need. BetterHelp, I got that as a sponsor to help you guys. I want my listeners to know that you have a resource for that kind of stuff. It's very, very important. Guys and girls alike. I need you here. Everyone needs you here. Your families need you here. Your friends need you here. And if you feel like you don't have family, you don't have friends, reach out to them. I bet you that you do. I bet that people care more about you in your life than you've convinced yourself they don't. Don't let it get so bad that you can't find your way out. I've been dealing with a lot of shit this week. A lot of shit, guys. I had a male-related injury that I won't really disclose too much information on, but it was painful as hell. It took 4 days to find out what was going on. It was so stressful. It was emotionally and physically just exhausting. The panic and the anxiety was nonstop for days and days. I had a lot of time to reflect on a lot of things because it was a major perspective shift for me. And when it came to this week's top 10, one theme felt the most appropriate. It is perseverance and overcoming life's challenges. Which, by the way, guys, I'm fine. I just want to throw that out there. I am fine. Everything's good. It's just, it's a thing that happens to dudes more often infants, but I got hit with a lucky one, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, not to worry, guys, but just always make sure that you're checking your shit when you can. So Like I was saying, the top 10 this week, you're going to hear songs that are hopefully going to inspire you and motivate you and make you feel like you can take advantage of your life and fight for what you want. Because, my friends, to the best of anybody's knowledge, we got one shot at this life. We should never settle for less than. We should always want to be alive, not just live. Um, let's make every day count. Let's take nothing for granted. Let's kick this shit off and feel something powerful together this week. Your top 10 of week 16. Let's get into it. Number 10, we have Ohio metalcore band Beartooth. Beartooth is a band fronted by Caleb Shomo, who is the band's songwriter, main performer on all studio tracks, and pens all lyrics. Caleb has always been very open about his struggles in life through his music, and he doesn't leave anything out. From battles of addiction, depression, and self-loathing to discovering a newfound love for life, for himself as a person, reflections on society, Caleb is one of the most relatable and honest songwriters out there because he's real. He writes about real things that affect us too. This is going to be a very common theme among today's top 10 artists. This song in particular depicts substance addiction and depression and fighting to overcome these demons and the power of relying on a group of people to help you. Starting strong at number 10, this is Beartooth with In Between. At number 9, we have California deathcore titans Suicide Silence. Typically, Suicide Silence writes about a multitude of topics, but they really tend to focus on personal struggle, mental health, resilience, hope, and social commentary. Mitch Lucker, the band's former frontman before his tragic passing in November 2012, was one of the most beloved frontmen in deathcore. He connected with the fans, he commanded a stage with his larger-than-life poses and stomps. Mitch was truly an icon. Lyrically, the fans connected so incredibly deeply. Mitch showed us power, emotion, passion, and that sometimes society needs a big fuck you. An extremely famous quote from Mitch was, "You call it demonic because you hear screaming. I call it life-saving because I hear the meaning." Mitch was tragically not here for a long time, but he made the most of the life that he had lived and made sure that everyone who listened to his music knew you only get one shot, so shoot. At number 9 this week, we have Suicide Silence begging us to make every single day count. You only live once, so go fucking nuts. Number 8, we have the Florida metalcore gods Trivium. Trivium has always been a band that has lit a fire under me and made me want to face life head on. Trivium are known to write music that showcases their take no prisoner mentality and showing us that sometimes there is no way back, just through. Trivium are one of those once in a generation bands that comes along and says, listen, we've been through some shit in our career. You've been through some shit in your life. Our experiences may be different, but we're an army fighting this war together. Back in 2008, Trivium released one of their highest praised albums of their career, Shogun. Shogun had a lot of influence by Greek mythology, which was commonly used as metaphor in the songwriting. Songs of battle for fighting through adversity. The song I chose for the top 10 this week is about looking your enemy in the eye and charging right at it. No fear, no backing down, just facing your challenges head on, not backing down. Number 8, This is off of Shogun. This is Trivium, Into the Mouth of Hell We March. Number 7, out of the metalcore capital of the world, New England band Shadows Fall. Shadows Fall are one of the best bands to ever do it. I covered them recently on another top 10. World class musicianship with plenty of songs about personal conflict, rising up against oppressive forces, suicide and depression, trauma, loss, and redemption. Shadows Fall recently returned from hiatus within the last few years and hit the ground running. 2 new singles, more new music on the way. They've been playing shows, but they never lost their touch. Last year, they released our number 7 song, In the Gray. According to vocalist Brian Fair, In the Gray is his attempt at describing the physical manifestation of weight and the crushing power that can come with depression, the feeling that the weight of gravity is crushing you down, or so that you're trapped inside your own mind, trying to rise to the surface just to take a breath. It can be an overwhelming and lonely place, but there's always a light at the end of the tunnel, and we always need to keep striving for a brighter day and escaping the gray. My friends, depression is a motherfucker. It will kick you when you're down. It will make you believe that you're nothing. Depression is a poison that our brain produces. Don't drink that poison. At number 7 this week, we have Shadows Fall, In the Gray. Number 6, my friends in Dead Within Days. Dead Within Days often write songs about perseverance, about positivity, about learning how to accept and grow from the challenges faced in everyday life. I had them on the show a few weeks back, and I loved learning about their stories, about where they came from in life. It wasn't really covered as much in the interview, but it's not hidden knowledge. Their singer Joel is blind. Joel lost his vision due to an illness in his life, but he doesn't let this stop him from living his life. Most people would back away from things like creating art, like being the front man of a band, letting the negatives determine the positives. Well, Joel is probably the only blind frontman of a metal band out there, and he is one of the most positive people that I've ever met. The dude is adversity, and he refuses to let that define him. The number 6 song of the week comes as a reminder that when you're at the end of your rope, you need to push yourself to go further. Face life head on and never give up. At number 6 this week, we have Dead Within Days, Outreach. Coming in at number 5, we have Lost Becomes. For those not in the know by now, Lost Becomes is a band from Long Island or New York City. In the last few years, they've grown to be one of the more better known bands. I've played them on the show before. Like, I think week 1, I had their song Home. If they've got a show coming up in the area, I always make mention of it. I want you guys to go out there and see them. I still have yet to go see them, and that kind of blows. But, it is what it is. It's always circumstantial. It's never on purpose. Like, when this comes out, the January, June 13th, they're playing with Dry Kill Logic in the city with a band called I Kill Ya, which I don't know if you guys are familiar with, but they're one of the best bands out of New York City. If you're going, have a great time. I am so truly jealous that you're going and I can't be there, but that's going to be such a stacked night of metal, guys. But nonetheless, Lost Becomes has grown quite a bit over the last few years. They released Sonder back in January. These guys are extremely talented, individually and as a group. They're all good, just really good guys, all down-to-earth people, and they write about real-life shit that we can all relate to. From bad relationships, both romantic and friendships, and how to deal with the losses that come from those situations. Like, you know, you break up with somebody, but you're also kind of breaking up with the friends that you met through that person too. Or if someone dies, like, you're dealing with the trauma from tragedy. And whenever someone passes away, unfortunately, it usually fractures a lot of relationships that are around that group anyway, which it's something that no one really talks about, that I feel like more people could benefit from hearing, that they are so certainly not alone in going through that kind of shit. But when Lost Becomes talks about dealing with someone who passes away, they really also focus on celebrating the life that was lost. The message these guys put into the world is extremely uplifting, and it shows us that even in the shittiest moments, it's all about your mentality. The song I'm going to play for you in a second is one that relates a lot with me, with everything that I've had going on. And it felt very appropriate to add this one. If you ever wonder what Lost Becomes songs are about, by the way, go watch their music videos on YouTube. Anthony will tell you in the description of every single song what that song is about, and I love that. I love knowing what people write about. I love being able to relate to the songs, and this one spoke to me. From YouTube, Anthony says, "Focusing on negative moments is a tough habit to break. Going over every single what if, or if this was different, is not healthy because you can't change anything from the past, and that's okay. It's best to learn and grow from those negative moments and move forward. A huge moment was taking the first step to forgive myself. This song is a reminder to stop holding a grudge against yourself, because these moments are everything." The band's guitarist Brian Sau also says, "The more we speak about this, the more we're going to remove the stigma from these types of conversations, because they've been here and they're not going away, and we're losing too many people to something that can be changed. It's something that we can do something about." These guys, they hit the nail on the head. Don't hang yourself up on what could have been. Just embrace what is and make those moments count. At number 5, this is Lost Becomes with Moments. Number 4, this is a band that truly epitomizes what it means to be chewed up and spit out, to have to take failure to the face and have no choice but to find a way through it. This band was grinding in small clubs. They were almost $1 million in debt. They were considered bankrupt. Their label screwed them contractually, and then that label imploded. That saw the band lose distribution, it saw them lose their tour support, and it also saw them lose any advances in money that they were promised, which led to the band taking out loans, maxing out credit cards to pay for crew and equipment out of their pocket. Their accountant fucked up their taxes, which led to the government trying to seize everything that they had. They owed so much money. Their management changed hands, which led to more financial hardship. Their guitarist quit the band at that point. For a band that was very early in their career, this is an actual living nightmare. And you would think that a band that would have gone through this would have just called it quits. You would have never heard of them because there's no way that they could have gotten themselves out of this kind of shit. That band is Seven Dust. They went on to be one of the most loved and respected bands of all time. They fully recovered from their debt. Clint Lowry eventually returned to the band, and the band is still going strong to this day, stronger than ever. In 1999, Seven Dust released one of their most loved albums, Home. Home is an album that dives into themes of personal loss, of emotional isolation, self-recovery, and resilience. Thematically, it's a dark album with a bright message. The song Waffle is a song about being in a dark place, hopelessness, searching for a meaning in life. I feel like this is a place that we've all been. Most of us have been trying to figure out life for a long time, and some of us will always be searching, but the message is here that sometimes we need somebody to be a light in our darkness. The chorus, bring me a light, make my life worth something more, show me a light, bring a light. When things are dark, it's only temporary. The darkness shows us light. Even the darkest point of the night still starts to get brighter. Seven Dust wrote this song before the darkest point of their career, arguably the darkest point of their lives. They had no clue what was coming their way. They still made it through, and we can too. At number 4 this week, this is Seven Dust with Waffle. My friends, welcome to the top 3 songs of the week. Just to recap quick, we had at number 10, Beartooth with In Between. Number 9, we had Suicide Silence, You Only Live Once. Number 8, we had Trivium, Into the Mouth of Hell We March. Number 7, Shadows Fall, Into the Gray. Number 6, Dead Within Days with Outreach. Number 5, we had Lost Becomes with Moments. And at number 4, we just heard from Seven Dust with Waffle. Coming in at number 3, a dude I hold in such high regard. One of my favorite people, Mr. John Gunther. Gunther was the first person that I ever interviewed for this podcast back on episode 2. He's a former U.S. Marine. He spent a lot of time serving our country, and I'm so happy he completed his service safely. Gunther is somebody I would describe as being fearless, who is dedicated and passionate and one of the realest guys in the room. But, like all of us, even the strongest can't carry the weight of the world. Gunther found an outlet in music. He channels his anxieties and his troubles into music and pours his heart and soul out. Music is one of the best forms of therapy out there, also the most free and the most cathartic. A few years back, Gunther moved out to Indiana. He started a solo project after he started a job. He dropped his first single, and it was called Can You Hear Me? It's a new metalcore sound, and not new, even though it's still a brand new track. But Gunther tracked all the instruments and all the vocals himself. This song is about the power of music, how important it is to him, and how music speaks for him. It's a song about being heard, sending a message of hope and determination. Gunther, I know you're listening, brother. You always do. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your support, and I can't wait to hear more of your music. At number 3 of Week 16, this is Gunther with Can You Hear Me? Number 2, this song needs legitimately zero introduction or explanation. I don't even care who your favorite artist is, what your favorite genre is. When this song comes on, it will make you run through a steel wall. When I was putting together a top 10 about Perseverance, there was no question about it. There will be a Hatebreed song on this list. There's lots to choose from because for such an aggressive band, they're all about positivity. I decided to go with the first Hatebreed song that I ever heard, a song that resonated with me my entire fucking life. A message of taking your life back for standing up for what you believe in, moving past your regrets, and finding your voice. This song speaks entirely for itself, so let's just get right to it. This is Hatebreed with I Will Be Heard. And your number one song of week 16, we have Killswitch Engage. Killswitch has made a career from writing songs about love, loss, overcoming adversity, determination, and fighting for what you believe in. They're a band that has always sent a good message, always has fun with what they do. Every show is so uplifting, and you know you're in a room with people who are going through some shit. That could be said for most metal shows, but the Killswitch community is amazing. They're loud, they're emotional, they're passionate, and it is cathartic as fuck. Killswitch is a band that I've loved for a really, really long time. They're a band that I tend to turn to when shit gets dark in my life and I need to regroup. This year has not been a good time for me, guys. I'm grateful for what I have. I am very grateful for this outlet, this podcast. I'm involved in a lot of really cool shit. I'm in the process of putting a new band together. Slowly, but it's in the works. Hell, you know what? I'll even be the first to say it here. There may even be a Logan's Room reunion at some point next year. But life is about balance, right? All light has darkness, and all darkness has light. So, you know my story by now. You know I lost my job. You know where this podcast came from. But one thing that's been a struggle consistently this year is maintaining my mental health and regrouping to try to carve a new path in life. Adding a very painful health issue this past week legitimately broke me. But I am blessed and I'm grateful that it wasn't anything serious. But my mental health was absolutely fucked. Anxiety, pain, so much pain, fear, and worst of all, the stress of trying to hide and suppress it. It was a rough week. I am lucky to have my family, my wife, my music. If I didn't have any of that, I would be very lost right now. The number one song for you guys this week is a song about hitting your rock bottom and fighting your way back to the top. It's a song that is about perseverance. It's a song that's about learning from your mistakes and knowing when it's the right time to make changes. Your number one song of this week is Killswitch Engage, Strength of the Mind. You can check out the full songs on the Face of Music Top 10s playlist on Spotify by either searching or scanning the code that is on your screen now. Are you interested in being a guest on the show? Hit me up. I'm always looking for bands, musicians, friends, other podcast hosts, promoters, or people who just live for rock and metal that want to come on and talk a bunch of shit with me. So let's set it up. Don't be shy. It's always a good time. I will say, though, as of today, I'm booked up to about August. So if you have anything you want to come on and talk about, please don't wait. And I will see if I can make it work, even if it means I have to move some stuff around for you. My friends in bands, do you have a show coming up, a new single, album, or EP dropping, anything that you want to promote? Please let me know. I want to do my part in making sure your music gets heard and that your band gets seen. But if you don't tell me, I am going to have a pretty hard time finding out about it. So please reach out. Either email me at theftmpod@gmail.com or just shoot me a message on Instagram. Show announcements. As I said earlier, tomorrow, this comes out on Friday, so Saturday, June 14th at Whiskey Rocks in West Babylon, New York, formerly Sinclair's Pub. We have Resist the Temptation along with Breezy and the Blazers, The Disappointments, Counterfeit Phil, Sharp Violet, and Steve and the Not Steves. Show starts at 7 p.m. It's $10 to get in. I'll be out there hanging out basically all night. So come hang out. I'll see you there. June 21st, Uber Geek Brewing in Riverhead, New York. We have Pathmaker, The Astro Cadence, Golden Hymns Sing Hurrah featuring Tom Gallagher of Moongroove Records, Ringside Tonic, and Violent Chaos. Tickets are $15. Doors are at 6 p.m. and this is an 18 and over event. June 26th, Path We Choose, a Prelude to Misery EP release show. This will take place at Amityville Music Hall in Amityville, New York, featuring Hostile Intent, Summon the Plague, Dead Within Days, Senseless, and, of course, the boys themselves, Path We Choose. Tickets are $12 if you buy from the bands, $15 if you buy at the door, so you know the drill. Save some hard-earned cash and buy from the bands. Not only does this save you some money, but if you aren't aware, pre-sales also help the bands tremendously. So, Dead Within Days, Path We Choose, they're also on MGR Fest 2025, so consider this to be your warm-up for that show. July 26th, Moongroove Records hosts MGR Fest 2025. This event will take place at Uber Geek Brewing in Riverhead, New York. The whole thing kicks off at noon and goes late into the night. This event will feature local artists and touring acts. There's going to be plenty of vendors, activities, games, food trucks, and much more. $25 if you buy ahead of time, $30 at the door, so make sure you save yourself some cash and buy early. Your vendors for MGR Fest 2025 are Rift Haven Audio Recording Studio, Floating Forest Pedals, Safe Haven Music, Moncherie Sugary, Burnworks Unlimited, Gallagher Baked Goods, Katie Crafts, the Maui Chop House Food Truck, the El Amor del Caribe Caribbean Love Food Truck, and yours truly, the Face the Music Podcast. I'll have a table and tent set up with some cool stuff for sale, including a one-time only limited supply MGR Fest hot sauce. I'll have shirts. I'll have some other cool stuff going on too. Going to be doing a raffle or two. I'm going to have a mobile setup for full coverage of the festival, so come on by and say what's up. Maybe cut a promo for the show, but make sure you get there bright and early. A music festival would be nothing without your bands performing. So, your bands for MGR Fest 2025 are Farsight, Ringside Tonic, Pathmaker, Cheem from New England, Path We Choose, Soul Searcher, Resist the Temptation, With Sales Ahead from New Jersey, Hope Speak, Dead Within Days, Pulses from Virginia, Off Guard, Oceanside, I Dreamt the Sea, and Craving Strange. Also featuring special acoustic sets by Bojack from the band Ronin, Chris Umland, and Ghost City Limits, which is my good friend and former guest of the show, Rob Moonfesta. Go give all of your vendors a like and the bands a listen. Make sure you buy your tickets early. $25 online or 30-day of show. Bring some extra cash for merch, food, raffles, and also save some time at the door. Since this event starts at noon, you want to make sure that you're there and inside early for when that first note kicks off. So, this week, I'm skipping music news again. There's nothing interesting or important out there. I don't think anyone gives a shit that Smells Like Teen Spirit hit 2 billion streams, or that Sharon Osbourne is still treating bands like shit. Um, Another band got, booted by Sharon. Everyone made the joke, oh, it's Iron Maiden, but this is Ozzy's last show. It's Sharon's one last time to fuck something up for a good opportunity that is for the fans, and also for Ozzy. So whatever, we'll blow past that. I do want to do something fun though. It's something that I see on Loudwire all the time, and I want to start doing it here too on a more Long Island level. Blank guitarist plays favorite riffs. So I figured, hey, let's give this a shot. I reached out to a bunch of friends already about this, but I'm going to go first. So I'll kick this whole thing off, and hopefully once a week we'll be able to feature this. So if you're interested, if you see this and you're interested in being a part of this, it's real simple. You're just going to film yourself playing your 10 favorite guitar riffs, or if you're a drummer or a bassist, you guys are included too. So it's your 10 favorite. Record them. You can give like a little synopsis on why it's your favorite if you want to, and once you film the video, you send it right over to me, and you can send it to the ftmpod@gmail.com. Let's make this a thing, guys. So the next thing you'll see is my top 10. So let's get this going. The first riff I have up for you guys today is it's a Nickelback riff. Nickelback was a band that I found back when I was in middle school. The first song I ever heard was How You Remind Me, obviously, but this band grew on me quick. I'm very in tune with what people write about in their songs, so I got hooked on the Nickelback train. But when I started diving back, I realized that this band is so much more than the radio hits. They actually have some pretty heavy shit. They have some really good hard rock songs. So this is one of those songs. This is a song called Because of You. Next one up. So anyone who knows me knows that I am a huge advocate for Limp Bizkit. They're one of the greatest bands of all time. I will stand by that forever. But this band, they came into my life at a really important and crucial point. It's kind of a funny story, but when I was a kid, all my friends were listening to metal music. It was a pretty dominant thing in my little group. They were finding the heavier bands. They were finding like Superjoint Ritual and Lollipop Lust Kill and Il Nino, and Slipknot and Disturbed and Linkin Park were huge back then. They were just blowing up, breaking out onto the scene. So I went to the store with my own money, and I bought The Sickness, and I bought Slipknot's debut album, and I loved it. I fell in love with the music. Obviously the lyrics in those songs didn't really matter so much to someone who's like 13 years old and just pissed off at the world. But around the same time, there was a lot of shit going on, like Michael Moore started making documentaries about blaming metal music and South Park for school shootings and all that horse shit. So it put every parent in the country on high alert about Slipknot and Disturbed are going to make you kill your parents. So my parents freaked. They took the CDs away from me. And I was pissed, obviously. I was pretty fucking mad about that. But one day, I knew about Limp Bizkit. It was one of those bands that kind of flew under the radar for me for a minute. I heard the song Faith. I saw the video on Fuse TV. My friend Max loved Limp Bizkit, so he got me into them. But one day I'm in Costco with my grandma, and she didn't know any better. It's grandma, you know. So I see the album Significant Other on the CD rack at Costco, and I asked my grandma, I was like, can I have this CD? I said, it's a rap artist. They don't have anything wrong in their music. I laid it on thick, and I ended up going home that day with Significant Other. And I told my parents, I was like, there's nothing wrong with it. There was no parental advisory sticker on the cover. So, like, everything was fine. All is well that ends well. Everything was going to be A-okay with that one. But at the time, the big song was Nookie. That was the song everyone knew. That was the easy song on the album. That was a mind blowing experience for me, popping that in for the first time and hearing 1999 and Just Like This and Trust and No Sex. It was a crazy album, but the one song that stuck with me the most is the song that I've had the most fun with from Limp Bizkit to this very day. A song that I feel like a lot of people also have taken notice to, and social media played a big part in it too. But this is Break Stuff. Now, going back to the older days of metalcore and new metal and all the amazing bands that were coming out around that time, that like late 90s, early 2000s era, I was finding out about a lot of music. Sorry, tongue tied. The big thing back then, if you didn't get your hands on the physical CD, you had Napster, you had Kazaa or LimeWire, and you poisoned your family's computers. But it was cool enough where like my dad was open um, to downloading some stuff for me, burning it onto a CD. And one of the songs that I had heard, it was a video that I heard on like MTV or Fuse or whatever the fuck. It was Seven Dust. It was the song Praise. It was the first song I ever heard by Seven Dust, and it made me fall in love with the band hardcore. The album Animosity, like, it kicked it open for me. So one day, I give my dad this like sheet of paper, and it's filled with all these different songs and shit. I asked him if he could download the music for me, burn it to a CD. The rest is kind of history there. Had everything on there from like Metallica and Pantera to Seven Dust to like fucking Van Halen. Like, it didn't matter at that point. Music was music. Of course, like everyone else, he wrote like kick-ass playlist on it or some shit. But yeah, the next riff that I'm gonna play for you guys is Praise by Seven Dust. So this next one, kind of a cool story. I I was in marching band, right? I was in marching band for a good part of my life, or at least the middle school, high school shit. But this is a middle school is where I first joined marching band. It was a good outlet for me. I really like. I wasn't singing in chorus, so I had to play an instrument. I wanted drums. I always wanted to be a drummer. I was taking lessons for a minute, and then I wanted to play in marching band because it seemed like a logical step for me. So my my middle school situation wasn't great, right? Like I was getting bullied a lot. Life was really just not not great for me in grade school as a whole. So to be able to balance that by going to band class. That was the one thing that I look forward to the most in my day. And unfortunately, it's one of those situations where, like, if your grades aren't good, that's something that gets taken away from you. So, through bullying, I suffered in studies. You know, my grades weren't fantastic, and I had it taken away from me. But I am so grateful that I had the teachers that gave a shit in middle school, and they didn't let me quit. They didn't let me stop playing. So, the band teacher in middle school still pulled me out of class to go to my lessons in school. She still made sure that even though I couldn't march in the parades with the band, that I was still at the rehearsals. I still went to band camp. I still had a spot and a place there. Because she believed, and I wholeheartedly agree with this, children should never have the positives taken away from them. They shouldn't have anything taken away from them. Like, if you're fucking around in school, you know, obviously you shouldn't be able to, like, go on a field trip or whatever. But, like, even then, that's pushing it. Like, kids need a reward system. And people that pay attention know that, like, when you see kids in middle school, high school, elementary school even, like, there's signs for bullying. There's signs that something's off. There's something going wrong. But thankfully, Miss Gamblin kept me involved, and that carried into my high school career. In high school, I started fresh, ninth grade. I was in marching band, just like that. It was easy. Maintain my grades, but it was also part of my class schedule at that point, so they couldn't really take it off a class schedule. But I made sure that my grades were always there, so I never had to worry about that getting taken away from me ever again. So, long story short, it's about maybe 10th grade. A couple of the dudes in marching band, they started jamming some shit on the bleachers during one of the football games, and it was this really cool riff, dude. It was so, like, unique. It was like, it was a Mudvayne riff, right? Like, it was Internal Primates Forever, and I had never heard that song before. I never heard of Mudvayne before, really, at that point. I was into metal, but at that point in my life, I was also very, very into rap, and I was coming out of my, like, you know, Slipknot and Disturbed CDs getting taken away, and, like, finding other avenues for music. So, like, when I was getting back into the heavier side of things, I was leaning more towards Metallica. I was leaning more towards Limp Bizkit, not necessarily Mudvayne. But I heard the song, and I was like, I have to hear the whole song. This sounds so cool. So I ended up downloading it. Again, using Kazaa or LimeWire or some shit. And when they would start playing it in marching band, I was able to join in, and we would all just start playing it. It got to a point where my band teacher saw what was happening, and he was always wanting to, like, foster rather than penalize. So he encouraged it, which was so cool, because I don't know many band teachers that would be like, you're playing a song that I've never heard. I don't know what the song's about, but hey, keep going. He loved that we were inspired. So it became something that we played regularly during football games and all that shit. And if you knew, you knew, I guess. If you didn't know, then no harm, no foul. But it was a cool experience. And that was really something that opened the door for me for Mudvayne, which eventually became an obsession. So obviously this next riff that I'm going to play for you is Internal Primates Forever off of LD50 by Mudvayne. Next up, you're going to realize I am a new metal kid. That's where my roots are. That's where I found my real passion. So, it should come as no surprise that Linkin Park is on this list. No, I have two songs off the same record for different reasons. So, this isn't going to be like a, my next two. It's two in one. the main riff is A Place for My Head. The song, when I heard it the first time, I was like, this is awesome. Like the sound of like the acoustic effect and how it transitioned into this like heavier, almost borderline, I guess, new metal flamenco in a way. It was very cool, and it turned into an explosive song. Like I'm sure that everyone listening to this knows the song "A Place for My Head." It's one of Linkin Park's biggest songs, but it's so aggressive. It's so heavy. It's fun, and like as a guitarist, it was a fun riff to learn. It was a fun song to learn, and yeah, it has such a cool flow to it. It's a very vibey riff, but it builds up to such good anticipation. And it just shows like the most simplistic things sometimes are the craziest, most impactful things. And then part two to this is a riff off, again, off of Hybrid Theory. Last song on the album, Pushing Me Away. It is one of my favorite things that I've ever heard. It's all harmonic, which is really cool. So it's all natural harmonic on the neck. But it's the intro to the song. And I just thought it's a fun little thing to play. I enjoy playing it. And since my guitar has been in every possible fucking tuning for this video, while I'm recording a Linkin Park song, I'll just throw that in there too. So enjoy. This is A Place for My Head and Pushing Me Away. So guys, this is the first band that we're going to take a quite a bit of a jump. You know, we're going to go from like 2001 to like 2020, 2020, I think. The band is a band that I talk about a lot. It's a band that inspires me pretty frequently. And they're a band that I fell in love with real quick. They're out of Sweden, which that should be your dead giveaway who I'm talking about here. But the band is Orbit Culture. Now, Orbit Culture started a long time ago at this point. I think like 2013, 2011 they might have started up. They have a few albums. They have a lot of songs out there. And they are, believe it or not, as long as they've been together, their career is only just getting started. But they dropped the album North Star of Amnesia. Well, the album is called Amnesia. I just, spoiled the song, but whatever. The album came out, and it was just pummeling. It was insane. Every single track, just it has a good flow. And that's one thing that I love about a good put-together album, is that it has flow. Every single song tells you a different story, but every single story makes sense in how the album sounds. So, if you don't know this band, if you don't know this album, you have to go check it out, especially if you're a fan of, like, melodic death metal. The singer, Nicholas, is one of the best vocalists that I've ever heard in my life. His vocals range from, like, Mikael Ackerfeld growls to James Hetfield cleans. It's incredible. He's extremely gifted. The whole band is amazing. Chris Wallstead, by the way, he needs to be a household name when it comes to drummers. The guy is a fucking animal. But these guys are so nice. I met them a bunch of times. They are so grateful for their fans. They will stand around for hours, legitimately hours, after they play and just hang out and talk and sign whatever you want them to sign. They'll drink a beer with you, whatever. These guys love where they are. They're in love with their fans, and they will do anything for their fans, and I love that about them. And this is a band that continues to inspire me, continues to make that kind of impact on me, because I love that about them. I love their whole attitude and their mentality. They're kings in the genre. This will be an arena band one day. I've been saying it since I heard them in like fucking 2015. Matt Heafy has said it. Machine Head has said it. They have endorsements all over the metal genre. These guys are going to be enormous one day, and they're getting there now. So keep your eye out, keep your ears out. They're about to release a brand new album October of this year. So there's a lot going on with Orbit Culture, but the riff that I want to play for you is off of Nisha. It is, I guess, in a way, their title track. It's called The North Star of Nisha. Enjoy, guys. Now, again, this is a list of riffs that changed my life. So this is my favorite riffs. I can go on for days with them, but these are really my tops. So if you know me, most of you do, you know that I love Machine Head. This band has pulled me through endless amounts of shit in my life. I really keyed in with this band about, like, you know, getting out of dark shit and finding hope, and not all this stuff's about that. Not all of it's happy or positive. They sing about a lot of dark shit too. They sing a lot about, like, depression and self-discovery, and they do sing about, like, things that I can't really relate to so much, like addictions. But the things that really last on to is the power behind their music, the way it made me feel inside. That it doesn't matter what song they're playing, doesn't matter what the lyrics are about. I feel something when I listen to that band. It makes my blood just go, you know. The song that I'm going to play for you is a song that they open every single show with. It's a song that has been a staple for the band since it dropped. It's one of their best songs, in my opinion. And I want to share this with you guys. I love the song. If you have the chance to go see Machine Head, they will play it live. I promise you, it'll be the first song you hear. But this is Machine Head with Imperium. So, back in high school, I had, my amateur bullshit band. It wasn't really anything. It was me and a couple dudes that were just jamming some shit in my basement. And I was drumming primarily back then, but I was also fucking around on guitar a lot. And one thing that I noticed was that I had a very linear way of looking at songwriting, right? I felt like everything should be structured the same way. It should be intro, verse, chorus, outro, end, right? Like, there wasn't a lot for me. Like, there was no such thing as a breakdown. There was no such thing as a bridge. Like, it didn't exist in my way of thinking. And it's nothing to do with anything else. Like, the bands I listened to had way different song structures, but I had not found the inspiration on how to write like that yet. And then one day, my old buddy Corey comes to my basement, and he's like, "You have to check this band out, dude. It's crazy. The guitar work is so good. They're so heavy. The drummer is amazing. You'd love him." And he played me "Pull Harder on the Strings of Your Martyr" by Trivium. And that was really all I needed to hear to have my entire way of thinking about songwriting change. It hit me so hard. It legitimately rocked my world. I knew about harmonies. Obviously I'm a big Metallica fan, and they do a lot of harmonies, but I never heard it done this way. I had never heard octaves done in the music, or at least not a way that I paid attention to. The drumming was so technical. It was so good. And, like, again, though, for a budding metalhead, really, for someone who is in and out of the genre so much as I was, like, this is one of those bands that really locked me in for life. This was an unquestionable, this is the music that I need to play. This is the music I need to feel forever. There was no questioning that. So, with that being said, me and Corey, we learned how to play Pull Harder on guitar, and we would, bullshit our way through the solos. Neither of us were very good at it, but the chorus and the verse and the bridge, where it was all down picking, it was like, man, it was so cool to hear. It was so cool to learn that. It was so cool to be able to play that. And it inspired me in such a huge way. Like, it legitimately reflects to this day in the songs that I write. Like, I have a song I wrote for Burn Your Bridges called Judas. That song, to me, was like a mix of Trivium and Machine Head. There's a whole bridge section to that song where I call it the Trivium section. It sounds like something that you'd really hear from a Trivium song, without ripping them off. But they are a massive influence on me, and this is the song that started it all. So this is Pull Harder on the Strings of Your Martyr by Trivium. We have this whole list. I've been talking about this band throughout most of the list without actually playing the riff from them. There's no shot I was finishing this list without including Metallica. You must be crazy if you think I wasn't including Metallica on this list. I had so much of their music inspire me in so many different ways that it was really hard for me to pick just one. You know, it was difficult because this is a band that through different eras of the band, they've influenced me in different ways. Like, one of the first songs I ever heard from Metallica was "Ain't My Bitch" off of Load. This is the first album I think I heard from Metallica front to back. Again, it was a LimeWire download. I had the entire album in a single MP3 file, so I couldn't skip songs, so I had to listen to it the entire way through, you know? So, stuff like that, like, I can't confidently say that I would have listened to Metallica, their older stuff, or anything newer, had I not started with Load. And then to go on to find out that Load was flamed for being like one of their worst albums, and I just didn't see it, dude. I didn't see that shit at all. I love that album. I love the bluesy. I love the hard rock stuff. They don't have to be thrashy all the time. It shows a really good evolution, and it shows musicianship. And that's something I feel like everyone should applaud their favorite band for doing, you know? And then they did it again on Reload. They found a way to blend more thrashy shit in there. After that, you know, I mean, Stand Anger was a new metal album. There's no denying that. And whether you love it or you hate it, that was a great album. That was a great metal album. It may not be the best Metallica album, but Stand Anger was a great album. And, you know, it led me down a rabbit hole with the band. Like, I found out about that. I started going back. I bought Kill 'Em All. I bought And Justice for All. I bought Ride the Lightning and Master. And, like, my favorite album, hands down, it's always going to be And Justice for All. It's a phenomenal album. It has the most intricate songwriting for the band. The lack of a bass, I think, actually adds more to their sound. It's very unpopular opinion. I think they did Newstead dirty, but they did it dirty for the right reasons. They didn't do that to haze him, because at that point, they're a band that's extremely successful, so the last thing they want to do is ruin their success. That album, sonically speaking, it was phenomenal. Every guitar line cut through. The distortion on the drums was even appropriate. It was heavy. It was so fast. Like, the songs were long, and it really showed off a different side to Metallica, and I loved that album. But I will say that Puppets was front to back just an album that you put on, you spin it, you can tune out, you can tune in, you can do whatever you want to do with that album. And, like, some of the songs, they still stand to this day, and for a good reason. The same thing with every single album Metallica's ever released. They will always have songs that I'm like, I need to hear that fucking song live. The song that I'm going to play for you is off of Puppets. It is Welcome Home Sanitarium. I love this song. When it came down to picking one riff, this is the one where I'm like, this song, it resonates with me. It was like one of the first full songs that I ever learned on a guitar. It was the first song that I ever really wanted to learn a solo for. Like, it has a lot of meaning for me. And the first time I ever saw Metallica, they played this live, and my jaw hit the floor. It was so cool. But the tone, dude, that's really something else in and of itself, is the tones on this album. It's something that I have been trying to chase as a guitarist for my entire guitar playing life, and this is going back, God, 20 years almost, you know. The Metallica clean sound is one of the best sounds I've ever heard. Bar none. It is one of the best clean guitar sounds ever made, and I think that I nailed it with this take. But what I'm going to play for you is the main riff, and I also included the lead over the riff. So hopefully I didn't completely fuck this up. Enjoy though, guys. This is Metallica, Welcome Home. lastly, this is a really important song to me. Now, again, if I had to pick 10 more riffs, I could. If I had to give sentiment behind 100 different songs, I could. I wanted to put this song at number one because it is a very, very important song to me. It's a riff that changed my life. It's a song that changed my life, and a band that changed my life. And it's a band that I was in. It's a band called Logan's Room, and we fell apart a little bit, in I would say like 2017-ish. Life was taking us all in different directions, and the band itself was becoming very toxic, and there was a lot of things going on, and the band ended. I hadn't talked to the guys in a very long time at that point. I had a lot that I had to process and let go of through the years, and I'm finally at a point where I can comfortably do that. Me and Dave, the bassist, we kept in touch a little bit here and there. He's got a new band, Roderick. I featured Roderick on this podcast before. I've gone to see his band play. Whenever he's playing on the island, he'll let me know. And like, I haven't really gotten a chance to go out and see them since that first time, but I still want to. And Dave's always got a soft spot in my heart. The main thing was healing from the negativity, and dare I say the hostility that was really not even there between me and Jordan. Jordan was my dude. He was my right hand. I loved every second I was in Logan's Room. I loved the fact that was the first band that I was in that someone said, "You're good enough to join us on guitar, so if you want it, it's yours." Like, I auditioned and they were looking for a bass player, and I walked out of that room that night as a guitarist. Not even just as a guitarist, as lead guitarist. Like, I felt something with their music. It inspired me so much, and like, I saw them for the first time. Like, it was Jordan and the drummer, and I won't say the drummer's name because he's a piece of shit. I'll be quite honest with that. I don't want anything to do with him or any association with him ever again. But Dave wasn't in the band yet. I wasn't in the band yet. It was Jordan, the drummer, and I think there was somebody else there. And they were playing on like this internet radio show. And I'd known Jordan for a bit. He invited me to come down and watch him play, so I did. And the music was so good. It hooked me right there and then. And when the opportunity to audition presented itself, I jumped. I drove out to Long Beach. I took all my shit all the way out there, and it was a far drive, but it was a necessary drive, I would say, because that night I found a band. They wanted me to be a part of it just as much as I wanted to be a part of it, and they inspired me so much. Mostly Jordan. Jordan is such a gifted songwriter and vocalist, and I owe a lot to that band. So I could sit here and pretend like I don't. I could tell you about all the downtimes, all the negative, but it's not worth it to do that anymore. I feel like we're all at a point in life where we are talking again. We're finally there. We're finally talking, and there's a chance that next year we may even get together and do a couple shows, which would be great. It'd be really cool if that were to happen, and I hope that I would see a bunch of you guys down there cheering us on. But this song was the last song on the album that we put out. It was the first album we put out. In my opinion, it was the best era of the band. It was the most fun. It was the most inspirational. It represented the band well. The album name was LBMY. It was 12 songs. It was give or take 40 minutes long. It wasn't a very long album, but every song was fantastic in my opinion. It was very well written. We took our time with it, and this song for me has a lot of emotional attachment. A lot. You know, it represents a place and time that I was very fond of. So instead of just playing the riff for you, I was going to. I was going to play just the riff, and then I started remembering everything from the song, all the little nuances, all the riffs, and I'm going to play the whole song for you instead. So I hope you guys enjoy. This is the last song on LBMY. It's the title track to the album, titled LBMY. I sincerely hope you enjoy this. I hope you enjoyed, listening to my stories a little bit, and listening to me fuck around on the guitar a little bit. It's something I don't get to do for you guys. So I will have more of these coming up with other musicians, some of my good friends, and hopefully the word spreads and we get this going. Make a little, indie artist feature. But thank you guys so much for tuning into this. I hope you enjoyed it. This is Logan's Room LBMY. My special guests today are a band that's been going since 2002. That's 23 years. They have longevity behind them. They have so many stories and so many experiences, and they're still going strong. Um, Currently, they're recording their newest album, Hearts Run Dark, which is set for an August release. I have with me today Kevin and Dan. Dan also owns Riff Haven Audio Recording Studio in Levittown, which, stay tuned, we get into talking about the studio and the studio experience and how important it is for bands. Please welcome to the show, everybody. This is Gaveldown.
Welcome to the Face Music Podcast, guys. I'm sitting here with Dan and Kevin of Gaveldown. So, how you guys doing?
I'm good, man. Good having us.
Anytime. I know I just introduced you guys, but why don't you go, like, each one tell me what you do in the band, how long you've been playing, all kind of stuff.
Go ahead, Dan.
All right, Kev. I play guitar and been in this thing since 02.
Yeah, 02 we started.
Yeah.
So I do most of the vocals. I can't say all.
95%.
I do 95% of the vocals, rhythm guitar. Dan now is on the production end as well, which is solid.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
It opens a lot of doors, So
And the quality out of the studio is ridiculous.
Thank you, man. Thank you. It's
I wanted to get that one out of the way. That knew that was coming.
yeah, it's been a grind, but now we got our own space and it's no more roadblocks, nothing holding us back. So it's
worth the wait.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's a major tool to have in a band, someone that understands audio like that. And everything that I've heard that you've dropped from your own studio sounds incredible. It's different than like what most people are putting out right now. It's high gain, which is something new. Like most people just they dull it down. It sounds really kind of almost muddy. Can't really decipher the riffs, but you're there crystal clear.
Thank you,
I
man.
love that, man.
I just try to take the whether it's us or whether it's another artist, I just my goal is to get the artist's vision across, so
Yeah.
just trying to understand what you're going for and bring that to light, in the best way possible. And with us, it's we've been playing together for so long that we kind of all know what we're after.
Yeah.
So there's no real guesswork involved, when we're doing our own stuff, which is it's cool.
And for anyone listening that doesn't know, this is Riff Haven Audio, MGR Fest vendor, and you're out of Levittown, right?
Correct.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I mean, he can make it sound however you want, though, too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Whatever you want.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure. I mean, that's
Ferg put a lot of time into that. So
yeah.
our album is going to be his like accumulation of,
Yeah, it's
of a lot of things.
100%, man. It's it took a while. This, we're I guess closing in on the finish line of mixing the record, and I gotta say in the beginning it's weird. Mixing your own band is a different animal.
Yeah.
It's when I'm working with somebody else, it's trying to understand what they're after, and then keep that at the base of all my decision making, and then make it as cool as I can, and then send it to them, and then they come back with, all right, this is cool, let's change this, and then I just address anything that they want changed, and it's nice. But when it's your music and it's what you want it to sound like in your head, it's like you're almost kind of wrestling with yourself. But once we got that first one, and I was like, all right, I think I got it. Sent it to the guys, and everybody was stoked on it. I was like, all right, this is the sound. That's and we're all excited about this one.
Yeah, it's a good one.
And now, with recording, is that something you went to school for, or is that something that you just picked up? Or?
No, I mean, it's the story is kind of the same as a lot of guys in my position. It's we started the band, and the first demo that we did was a friend of a friend had one of them studio in the boxes, which was very short lived. It was like all analog stuff, and then they came out with these like all in one 12 channel. I forget what one we used, but we rented it. Or first we went to this guy and he recorded us, and it was cool and it was polished and all that stuff, but it didn't have the sound. So second time, that was our first demo. And then when it came time to do another one, I was like, I bet you I could figure out how to do this. And I got one and we did it, and it sucked. We thought it was great at the time, but ever since that, like in doing that though, I kind of discovered that I really like recording.
Yeah.
And ever since then it's just piece by piece doing it. And if anybody that's done this will probably tell you is like, especially for heavy music, they don't take heavy music seriously in music school.
No.
So if you want to do it, you got to get your boots on the ground and learn, kind of the way I did, either by learning yourself or sitting in with somebody that knows what's going on and learning from them. But you got to do it. You got to make your mistakes. You got to get thousands and thousands of reps in, and then you get to make badass music.
Yeah. A lot of trial by fire with that
100%.
I'm sure.
for Dan Ferg.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do a lot of home recording, so I have no knowledge of this shit at all. Like I get it to where it sounds good in my ears, and then I go to the car and I'm like, this sucks. This is so bad. So it really is, it's an art learning all of that kind of shit, because there's so much that goes into like making just a good sounding production.
Yeah.
And yeah, I had friends that went through like 5 towns and went through like $1 million studios and learned how to use it. And we were, a metal band that recorded there. Sound like shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it happens.
Awful. I was like, you got us on record, but there's no mixing, there's no mastering. Like they kept it super raw because they wanted us to be a more polished sounding band, and like can't do that,
I think with like Gaveldown, with like us, we've been a band so long, and like me and Ferg have known each other so long.
Yeah.
Like you get to a point where it's just not cool anymore, just recording the one song, and you're like, oh wow, hey, wow, that's cool, that's recorded. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you get past that, and then you start breaking down what it sounds like, and you're like, this doesn't sound great. And you're like, this could sound a lot better.
Right.
And how do we do that?
Absolutely.
And now, what would make a song that you had written sound better? Like what experiences have you had where it's like, we heard it, it's on record now, how can we make this better?
So the way our band works, right? We'll do like a lot of recording from like the ground level.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll start recording riffs, vocal lines, everything right from the ground floor. Like even in like a band practice, we have all kinds of recordings of that.
That's
And it's a matter of going back and listening to it
mm-hmm.
and continuing to work on that song. That's it. And they continually get better and better. And they're shared throughout the band, and everybody has a voice and everybody puts their input.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes people get shot down. Sometimes we're like, wow, it's a really great idea. That will make the song better. And it's just continued work. It's like one of our songs on this record, like we were just talking about before we started. It's like almost like 10 years old. The song's been around like 10 years. And so it's just been laying around, right? Still getting work, gets attention here and there. Then all of a sudden, it's that song's time, so it's cool.
Yeah.
The process of our songwriting and how our songs come out, sometimes it takes years.
Have you ever had it where like either you or Dan would just bring a song into rehearsal and say, this is how I want it? Or are you always open to the fine tuning aspects?
Go ahead.
Well, like there are times that, guys have brought full songs that they've written. Like there are times that, I'll write a riff and I'll be like, that's a cool riff. I don't really hear where it's going. And then the band will get together and we'll jam on it, and ideas will get thrown out and we'll kind of figure it out that way. There are times that I'll write a riff and I'll be like, I know how this whole song goes.
Yeah.
But at the same time, nobody in this band is like, this is how the song goes. You can't change it. I think all of us, we all agree, like, the mantra is like, best idea wins, better is better. Like, I think this is really cool. You have an idea, let me hear it. Like, maybe you could make the song even better because I didn't think of that. And that's, I think one of the things about us, and I know this is true of a lot of bands, is like we, separately from each other, I'd say we're decent musicians, but like when we all get together, whatever the chemistry is between the four of us, it just elevates everybody. And, the recipe for our sound is everybody's input, and there's never a, we can't do that because I didn't write it. Like there's no egos in that regard.
That's fantastic. Yeah. That's why you guys have been around since 2002.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just keep chipping away.
That's it.
If you remove ego from a situation, it solves a lot of problems.
Every situation.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't even think about walking into the rehearsal space with these guys and going, "Yo, I wrote this song, and this is how we're playing it."
Yeah.
They'd be like, "Yeah, okay, guy."
See, I've been that guy.
Yeah, have you?
Oh God, yeah. I've been that guy. I've been in bands where everyone else has been that guy. So it's
Yeah.
been a lot of like, fine, I'll learn your shit if you learn mine. And that's as diplomatic as it gets.
Yeah,
You know, it's a willingness to learn each other's stuff, not necessarily give input because they were all big on like you taking away from the artistic integrity if you're trying to change somebody's art. I'm like, okay.
Well,
fair.
I think it comes with maturity also. Like when you're young and you're in a band and you have
Yeah.
this idea and someone says, I want to change it, you're like, no, mine, you know.
yeah,
But like as you like I always say, it's like, do you want to what name is going on the record? It's your
Right.
band's name is on the record. Like, do you want to be like, listen to this song that I wrote beginning to end and no one else touched it?
Mhm.
Well,
yeah.
your name isn't on the record, it's the band's name.
Right.
You know, so it's
And number one, nobody's gonna care except that guy that wrote the song.
Yeah.
Like nobody's gonna care.
Yeah.
You know?
I was always under the mindset like if something is going to change in a song that you're passionate about, it should be something that's going to make you happy too.
Yeah.
Especially given the situations I was in anyway. Um, if it was going to be something that improves the song in some way, shape, or form, that's where I would be like, okay, we should change this because that is truly a better idea.
Right.
But you know, looking back, it was such an unhealthy mentality to say like, I know that I have three other guys telling me this is going to be better this way, and I'm putting up a fight for it, or someone else putting up a fight for it. So it's
Right.
like, yeah,
it's trust and respect, you know. It's
Yeah.
you know, who was it, John Wooden or something said, whatever you do in life, surround yourself with smart people that will argue with you.
yeah,
And it's like, as much as we all have that great chemistry, there are battles sometimes.
oh
Yeah.
You know, like there's like, you know, we'll play something and I'm like, I'm not hearing it that way. And it's like, all right, well, it's never like it never turns into a pissing contest over whose idea, you know, because it's my idea, I want to win. Like I just want the song to be as good as it could be. So it's like, all right, you have that idea, let's jam on it and let's record it. And then let's record mine and let's like play it back and everybody like listen to it. It should be clear which idea sounds better, you know?
Yeah.
That's why I always say it's like, why waste your time arguing with words over music? Just play it.
yeah,
Like you have an idea, let's play it. There's the technology so easy. Just
Mhm.
record it and then record the other idea and then play back and listen to it. And maybe both of them suck, but
Mhm.
maybe going through that process will lead you to a better end product.
I had a song when I wrote. Basically, it was like the first riff I ever wrote, and it was something that was like, this riff is great. The song around it blows. So I was trying to like hunt for years on how am I going to fit this riff into a song. And I joined the band Logan's Room in like 2014, and me and Jordan, the old singer, we were just sitting on his balcony. He lived in an apartment in Long Beach one night. So we're sitting on the balcony like the night before 4th of July, watching people shoot off fireworks and shit, and we're just jamming on it. I'm like, hold on a second. Pulled it out of my back pocket. I was like, that fits. Let's use that here.
That's it. That's
Magic
the way.
feeling, dude. Magic feeling.
Love that.
I have a gang of riffs just like that.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah.
and they usually hang around and like Ferg is very good at knowing like my riff like record
Yeah.
that I
Yeah.
have. And like he'll just pull one out and be like, you know what it's time for? It's time for this one. And I'll
Yeah.
be like, oh, I forgot all about that.
Yeah. It's like the Allen and Misfit toys.
Yeah.
It's like right there to be used
Yeah.
at some point.
Usually like a bar and a half short
Yeah.
of being a full riff.
Yeah, exactly.
Just something that rages. And then it's like, okay, yeah, this is good enough. It's good. It's good.
I love to hear that kind of shit. I'm very intrigued talking to other songwriters because everyone has a different process and like how they write a song.
Yeah.
And I mean, you guys 23 years down the line, you have to have it down to a science at this point, or at least acknowledging each other's chemistry with how each other writes and knowing how to complement that. And
I would say I know, like, we know how the band sounds.
yeah,
And it's just from being in the band so long.
yeah,
So, like, we don't even have to try that. It's a matter of just putting all of our music together
Mhm.
to make the next Gaveldown song. So it is a little, I feel like it's easier for us being around this long
yeah,
to put our sound together and to put our songs together. Because I can listen to a riff like immediately
Mhm.
and be like, that's a cool ass riff, but that's not this band.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
So do you guys have like other bands that you're in or other projects that you write for?
I do not.
No, not really. It's, there are some times that, you'll be jamming something and, everybody's, there's four guys in this band and everybody's, our musical DNA is very similar, but, we all branch off into different things. Like, one guy might be really into this genre, one guy might get into this genre, and everybody's musical tastes are constantly changing.
Mhm.
So I think what B said is like, it's super accurate. Like there's some like really, really brutal deathcore that I love.
Yeah.
And like there'll be times where I'll be sitting jamming and I'll write a riff and I'm like, oh, that's sick. That's not Gaveldown, no. And it's,
Yeah.
I respect the band too much to try and like fit it in there.
Yeah.
If it doesn't go, it doesn't go. It's got to sound like us.
Mhm.
Which is weird in a sense too, because we pretty much do what we want,
Yeah.
but within the scope of the band, I guess is the best way to say that, right? So like
Yeah.
we're not gonna do like a real death metal type song, and we're probably not just gonna sometimes we get on the thrashy end of things, right? So our limit's not really like the death metal.
Mhm.
Well, it would be on the low end, I guess, right? And then it's somewhere in between all of that. That's where we fit.
Yeah, no,
Right? Is that a good way of saying it?
You're more of like a
So-
hard rock driven band with like definitely elements of heavier stuff in there too. But it's
Accurate.
just like
It's accurate.
it's just good time, like beat someone up in the pit kind of music.
Yeah.
It's
Love it.
fun shit, dude.
Yeah, that's good.
Um,
I'll take that.
the new song you guys just dropped too got fucking crazy heavy out of nowhere. I wasn't expecting it. I put my headphones on, I was listening. I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
Immediately I was like, that's going on the top 10 this week. I can't wait to shout this song out.
That's
Yeah,
the
we
first
appreciate that.
first 7-string song in our discography.
Damn.
Yeah.
It was weird. I think it was like serendipitous because I was like, we were talking at like a rehearsal one day years ago, and I was like, I've been playing guitar 20 plus years and I've never played a 7-string guitar. Just never never had the motivation to. And one day I was at Guitar Center buying strings or something, and that comment like popped into my head, and I was like, pulled one off the wall. And you know how it is, like sometimes you get into like a funk or something with writing, you make it blocked.
Oh yeah.
And doing something as simple as changing your tuning could just open up,
Worlds,
just
dude.
because everything doesn't sound the same as like all the places that your brain normally goes. And now like there's this whole new sound.
Mhm.
And I was like, oh no, I'm playing this thing. I'm like, I'm buying a 7-string.
Yeah.
And that was the first 7-string riff that I think I wrote. Was that main riff to Hearts When Dark, the chorus riff. And
And what tuning did you end up going to with it?
it's in the hell is it in? B. So the whole guitar is dropped one full step.
Oh, okay, cool.
I think that's B. I suck at things like that. But
Well, if you keep a 7-string, you play like standard or drops.
it's standard.
So
So
then it's B, A, D, G, E.
correct.
So you basically kept it like standard tuning with a low B on top.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's corn tuning, I think. I think that's
I
what they
think
do.
one's down to like A. I think they drop it all the way down
Okay.
there. That's what this one's in right now. I was recording some shit yesterday and I was like, oh.
Yeah. Flop that string.
I was never a 7-string guy either, ever.
Yeah.
And I started, fucking around with writings. With Logan's Room, everything was either C sharp or B. Or it was drop C sharp or drop B. So I had my guitar set for that. I was with 6s, it kept real solid for me. And then I started writing more because I hit a wall with it, like you said. And the only thing I could think of was, well, I never tuned to A sharp before.
Yeah.
And the strings I was using were quite literally flopping off the fretboard.
Yeah.
I was like, I can't do it. So I was like, all right, maybe I can get thicker strings. I went up to like 13 gauge and it was fine. But the bottom 3 strings were killing my fingers.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, maybe I should look into a 7. And a buddy of mine was selling a 7. I bought it from this beautiful white Schecter 7-string. And I started writing and I never stopped writing.
Yeah.
When I got this
Yeah,
thing,
great.
like it's a machine, dude. Like you finally get that extra element in there and you realize what is actually possible with it. It's awesome.
Yeah. A lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. I still love my 6s though. I have 3 that are out of commission right now that I need to get fixed up.
Yeah,
I think this Les Paul back here is the only one that I have that I can actually play
it's
right
hard,
now.
hard to keep up with all of them, you know.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I have a Kirk Hammett signature that's been out since 2016, and it's half laziness, half I don't have the money to like sink into fixing it.
Yeah. That's how it goes.
The life of owning guitars.
Yeah.
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 Expensive habit, that in golf.
I will always swear up and down though the most expensive instrument is drums. Without a doubt,
Yeah.
the most expensive instrument to maintain and play.
If you want them to sound good, they're expensive.
Yeah.
Sticks are going like $11-12 for cheap end now, and like heads are minimally $40. Cymbals
Yeah.
are good cymbals are hundreds of dollars.
Oh yeah. I know all too well, man.
Yep.
But speaking of equipment though, what do you guys play? What's your guitars of choice?
So this record was tracked, the rhythms for this record. I shot out my ESP Eclipse, which I love, and that's usually what it's my main guitar on stage. But when we first started playing all over New England, a year or two after we formed the band, we knew that we needed backup guitars, and at that time, both of us had like one solid guitar.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, we hit up this like local secondhand store. I think it was called Daddy's Junkie Music.
Yeah.
And I walked in there looking to buy like a crappy, like in case of emergency break glass guitar to bring to shows. And walked in, and behind the front desk there was this beautiful Gibson Flying V, this cherry red with crescent moon inlays.
Guitars.
And I was like, what is that? And he's like, oh, someone just brought it in and sold it to us. Like, it needs some fretwork. And I was like, how much? I don't even remember what I paid for it, but it was like a steal.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm buying this guitar. And I don't know what kind of magic is in that thing, but it is a beautiful sounding guitar. Like to the point where when people come by the studio, or like, whenever I bring it out places, like people are like, hey, can I play it? Everybody plays it, like, this guitar plays so well. And like someone once told me, like, if an electric guitar sounds good when it's not plugged in, it's probably a really good guitar.
Yeah.
And that guitar sounds amazing when it's not plugged in.
Yeah.
And I modded it a couple of years back. I put Seymour Duncans in it, the Nazgul in the bridge, and the Sentient in the neck. And shout out both of those guitars. And the Gibson one. So that's the rhythm guitar that's on the album.
Yeah.
And the leads were done with the Eclipse.
That's sick.
That guitar, hands down,
Yeah.
out of all of our guitars combined, whatever it is, however they built that guitar, whatever it is, it's on a different level.
Really?
It's crazy.
It was tough.
But we're all from the ESP camp. We like them.
Yeah.
So Vipers,
Big
Eclipses.
ESP fan.
Yeah. So yeah, that's us. That's what we play.
And what about your other guitars?
So I got a Viper. I got a couple Les Pauls that usually don't make it out in the mix. Used to wear one with like a chain back when I thought I was Zach Wild. And I am not Zach Wild. All right. We can put that on the record.
That's fine. I don't like Zach Wild anyway.
Looked great on stage.
It did. It looked
I'm sure it was
awesome.
killer
It was
on stage.
great for the showmanship. But yeah, ESPs. I also have an Eclipse, so I was a follower of Ferg in that sense, because I liked his guitar. So I got a nice red one.
Yeah, this is cooler.
Yeah.
Viper, like a Viper 301. That was like I've had that guitar a long time now. And like I said, a couple Les Pauls in the mix. So that's us.
Very cool.
Yeah.
What about like amps and stuff? What do you guys play through?
We're big 6505 guys.
Yeah.
I know people, I know I'm going to get shot for saying this, but everybody loves the 5150 block letter. To me, I like the 6505 tone. I just, to my ear, I can dial that thing in 3 seconds.
Yeah.
And the tone on the record, I went a little nuts, because we tracked through an amp sim, just because the studio wasn't done, and we needed to get the guitar laid down. So I tracked it through an amp sim and then reamped. And so the guitar tone on the record, I'm going to do a video in the next couple of weeks on the tone for all the nerds out there that'll appreciate it. But so
fucking Tony.
yeah, so I reamped through the chain went through 3 different overdrive pedals and I shot those out. Um and I think the one that won was a JHS Bonsai pedal, which is I don't know if you're familiar with that one, but
No.
it's essentially JHS. It's an awesome little American boutique pedal company. And the Bonsai is basically they take all of the classic overdrive pedals, like I think there might be 11 of them. I forget what number it is, but it's like the TS9, the 808, like, you name it, the most popular overdrive pedals. And they literally copied all the circuitry for every one of those pedals and put it into one. So you could just turn a knob and you have a different pedal.
Damn.
Yeah. So that one won. I forget which setting it was on, but that after going through the pedal got split. It went to 2 heads. So one went to the 6505, which was going into a Mesa oversized cab. And the other signal went into a Bogner Uberschall, which went into the 6505 cab. And then I had 4 mics total, 2 on each, a bright and a dark on each cab. And then those are going into 2 different preamps. And then all of that went back into a mixer. And I just blended all the tones till it got to a good level and then back into the computer. And I'll say one thing that, the tone that we had through the amp sim was cool. And I really liked it. And the band really liked it. And I was like, I think it was Sip, our drummer, was like, how different's the guitar tone going to sound? And I was like, listen, like the tone's not going to sound worse than this. Let me try and beat it. And if I could beat it, then we'll use that. If I can't beat this tone, then we'll use the one that we tracked with the amps in. And I sent it to the guys after I reamped it, and they were like, "Whoa,
Yeah."
And that's
He
one.
beat it. He beat
Yeah.
it. Yeah, he beat it.
One of the comments that I've gotten from a lot of people that have heard, Hearts Run Dark and a couple of the other songs that we got finished is the guitar tone is something that people bring up, which I'm proud of. It came out kind of exactly what I was after, and I think what all these guys, were after as well.
So as I was saying before, the sound that you put out was something. It was a cure for the itch for me because I love that kind of tone. That's what I chase too.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of like Machine Head, like Orbiculture, the 2 best tones in the game right now.
Orbiculture's sick.
They're crazy. Did you hear the new one they just put out?
No, I'm gonna listen to it on the ride.
Ridiculous.
I just saw the post today.
It's insane. They debuted it on Liquid Metal yesterday. They were running it like every hour. Then the song dropped on like streaming shit today. It's insane.
Yeah.
For what they normally do. It's definitely more like something more deathcore in some elements.
Cool.
Yeah. Definitely way darker sounding. It's cool. But they came out. I heard them and I was like, I need that tone. I need to do whatever I could do to get that tone on whatever I do. And found out they started using like Archetype, Gojira, and like all this other shit, like digital. So I'm like, all right, I can do that too. I have had this shit for years. I still can't get it. But I can't get it.
Yeah.
So if you figure out a way, dude, you gotta tell me.
Yeah.
That's the struggle. I won't figure it out for sure. I'll be in the same boat as you, brother.
Yeah. Tone chasing is a dangerous game.
Oh yeah. That's why I never got into pedals and shit. I would have spent thousands on pedals by this point.
Yeah.
Or less than $200 in software. So I'm like, I'll go with software route.
Yeah.
So now I know you guys, your bassist and your drummer's not here, but what, like, do you house all the equipment at the studio? Like, do you have any particular brands that you guys use unanimously? Like,
not really.
No.
The drums on the record were our drummer's kit. I do have a house kit at the studio. I didn't have it when we tracked the record. But again, like his snare drum it's kind of like my Flying V. I think it's a Chad Smith signature snare drum, which is not like a over the top. It's not, I don't think it's particularly popular, but like between, the way that drum is made and the way he hits it, it just sounds awesome. It sounds awesome when he plays it live. It sounds awesome on the record.
Any need for any muting on it? Because I know sometimes snares, as good as like they sound when it comes to a recording. You have to have some sort of dampening on.
Yeah, I think we did. I think we did a couple of moon gels on his snare. I can't remember if he had that like the rim, the guard thing on it or not when we tracked it, but I forget what his kit actually is. I think it's a.
He's not going to be impressed with you.
Yeah, I know.
You better hope
It's
that everything
red.
you're saying is what it is. It's a red one.
It's a red one. No,
It's
I
a red
think
one.
it's a DW. I think he's gonna kill me if I'm wrong. Sorry, Sip. Love you.
I think it's a Hello Kitty.
Hello Kitty double bass.
Yeah,
kit.
double bass kit. Chad Smith snare.
That's sick. I mean, I used to drum too. So
Okay.
like I love hearing about like, what people play, all that kind of stuff.
Nice.
So ironically, the kit that I grew up playing was also a red kit.
Okay, yeah, there you go.
So
Yeah, I had a pearl 5-shell kit, and then I added a second bass drum and second floor tom, and that was like an off brand. So I had one that was bright like fire engine red, and one that was like dark cherry red.
Yeah.
gotcha.
It did not blend whatsoever, but it looked fucking cool.
All right.
Yeah, it's awesome.
That counts for something.
Yeah.
At least a little bit. So what bands or artists did you guys grow up listening to that made you want to start a band, made you want to pick up your instrument, learn vocals?
Good, man.
You want me to go first?
Yeah.
Sure, I'll go. So we might like, how old are you?
37.
Yeah, oh, so you're in the same boat as us then. So
How old are you guys?
I don't know. I feel like I'm getting older, I'm 43 now, dude.
Okay.
So I'm
Still
all
young, dude.
I'm all old school. Like my catalog would go back to like you start with Pantera,
Mhm.
Metallica, and then just build it up from there, So listen to those guys play, and then you look at like Metallica, those dudes still crushing it, like in their 60s.
Absolutely.
It's something to look up to, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's something to strive for, keep the dream alive. But yeah, old school metal, man.
Yeah.
Old school thrash, old school just heavy metal. That's where I come from.
Yeah.
So what was something that made you say, I love this music, let me do this? Like what made you want to be a vocalist or a guitarist?
So funny story, all right? About early 2000s in
Mhm.
college, right? This guy taught me how to play guitar.
Really?
Dan Ferguson. Sure
Very
did.
cool, dude.
So
Very random.
it's a very random thing, and it's very cool because it led to this day. Just sitting there, I'm like, dude, you play guitar? He's like, yeah. I'm like, all right, cool. Think I can get on there? He's like, yeah, you can. And I was like, I probably annoyed the hell out of him. I was like, how do you play this? And I was like, okay, wow, this is a lot harder than I thought it would be, this guitar thing. And it was just every day going to his dorm room, like, hey, can I come in? Yeah. Can I try to play that? Yeah, come on, play it. And then eventually I put a couple riffs together or whatever and learned how to play a couple songs that he taught me. And then he was like, you know what, dude? Would you go buy a guitar, bro? And so I was like, oh, that's cool. That's cool. And then, it progresses. And then I would start messing around just trying to sing over it and stuff. And he was like, hey, you can scream pretty loud, bro. Maybe, do a couple metal vocals or something. I was like, yeah, and it all starts like that.
Yeah,
That's how we started.
It was very random.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
It was just, learn how to play guitar, and then he sang something randomly. Never heard him sing before in my life. And I was like, dude, you can sing? And he's like, I guess.
Not really. Yeah, no, but yeah.
Do you remember what the riffs were?
I remember trying to learn how to play that Kansas song.
Yeah.
So, and I was like, what is that? And you're like, oh, that's the keyboard part. You're playing it right.
True story. Yep. Well, that's the thing is like, so we went to college together, and obviously when we were, early in our college days, we're in the dorms, and you can't have electric guitars in a dorm room. So we had acoustics, and that's, I think that definitely helped. I mean, it helped me keep the chops up because, acoustic, you hear every mistake. And I think learning on acoustic for him definitely helped him progress really quick. I mean, I would come back from class and I'd like walk past his room and I'd hear just like him playing. I'd be like, let him keep chopping out. But like, he was driven because like, I felt like it was a year later, we moved out, we got an apartment, and we got Marshall half stacks and we're playing Creeping Death together, in the living room.
Yeah, it was just
So
like that. It's
know,
just
that-
very random, man.
Yeah,
It's very-
it just kind of went.
Touching on Carry On Wayward Son, by the way, that has one of the
There you go.
riffs I've ever heard. That's a crazy ass riff. I've been trying to play that shit.
Yeah.
It's fucking cool. Yeah, that's awesome though. That's so cool that you guys you basically grew up together. I mean,
Yeah.
It's
And then it definitely kept Ferg on his toes because I'd come over there and I'd be like, hey, you know how to play this riff, right? And he'd probably be like, yeah, just give me like 5 minutes, and then he'd have to like figure it out real quick. And he'd be like, yeah, come on, let me show you.
yeah.
and what bands for you? Like what made you want to be a guitarist that taught? Gavin.
So for me, like I had music in the house growing up, just like everybody else, but I remember I was the oldest, so I was like the sheltered kid. I was like, with the rules, it was the most strict with me being the oldest.
Mhm.
So we weren't allowed to watch MTV. And I remember when I was 8, no, I would have probably have been 9. It was the summer the Black Album came out, and I would like sneak watching MTV and VH1 when, it's in the summertime, my parents are out of the house or in the backyard or something. And that was when Wherever I May Roam was like the video that was popular, whatever summer that was. It must have been 91 or 92.
Yeah.
And I was like, what is that? Because that video was clips of them playing live.
Yeah.
And I don't even think I ever heard the song before. But so for me, it was like seeing that, hearing that, and then that was like that Christmas was the Christmas I got a Walkman. For those of you guys that don't know what a Walkman is, go Google that. And I begged my parents to get me the Black Album on cassette, and they did. They've always been super supportive. And I think, like, aside from guitar playing, I think that's what like programmed me for production is because I mean the Black Album still to this day is one of the greatest sounding heavy records ever.
You hear
everything. It sounds amazing. And I would literally sit there and listen to side A on the headphones and then flip it and listen to side B. And I remember thinking, like, hearing all like the little nuances, like, what's that little shaker happening in the background right there? Or like in Wherever I May Roam when they hit that crack. I'm like, what is making that sound? Which for those that I think it's a 12-string bass.
Yes.
And they just use the attack and throw a ton of reverb on it. Anyway.
Yeah, Jason keeps that fucking string.
Yeah. So I asked for a guitar for my birthday, and this is before the internet.
Mm-hmm.
And like I never thought to take lessons.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to Guitar Center and they had this book. It was called Metallica Riff by Riff.
I have that book.
You have there it is.
I think it might be over here. If not here, it's in my room. But yeah,
great book, man. It has the tabs for Metallica albums 1 through 5. And that's how I learned how to play guitar. I think I tackled For Whom the Bell Tolls first. And once I got some calluses on my fingers and developed some coordination with my right hand, I was glued to it. I was addicted to it. So Metallica is definitely deep in my DNA. Same with him.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
And
same.
Yeah. Notice that first thing with in you, man.
My favorite band on this fucking planet, dude.
Yeah, man.
Can't argue with it. And I think one of the things that you could see, it's like I don't think we've ever tried to write a song to sound like another band. Like we don't actively try to write Metallica sounding songs, but your influences just come through naturally in your playing, especially if if you're someone that grew up playing along with another band. And I think one of the things that is true in our band that I think just naturally happened from playing Metallica riffs is like our riffs are fun to play.
Yeah.
Like there are bands that I love that, I'll be like, let me try to play that. And like you play it and it's like, this is kind of boring. Like this is not doing anything for me playing wise. Metallica riffs are fun to play. And I think that, with us, when we write a riff, that's one of the things that sparks our inspiration is like, we pick up something and not only do we like the way it sounds, but it's like, it's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always find like if I'm having a hard time finding inspiration, like writing a riff or some shit, I always get the spark if I like go to a concert and see one of my favorite bands.
Oh yeah.
Huge. I saw Metallica on the 72 Seasons tour in 2023. And
Giant Stadium.
yeah.
Yeah, we were there.
Yeah, we were there.
So my buddy Tyler is the new drummer of Prom. They kicked off the parking lot on day one. So
Sweet.
I was there watching Prom and shit, and it's like I can't wait to get inside. I don't even
Yeah.
like Prom was great. They
Yeah.
killed it, but I was like, I need to get inside. I gotta get close to the fucking stage as I can. Dude, when Metallica came out, I lost my damn mind.
Yep.
Yeah.
I came
Yeah.
home, I was like, I'm picking up my fucking guitar. I'm
Yeah.
not stopping.
Yeah, that happens. That happens to us too.
100%.
The same thing.
I just saw Machine Head last month. Same shit
Yep.
happened. Got home, I was like, I gotta start writing some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. Live music just does something to you.
But
Yeah.
then at the same time, with Metallica specifically, I could pop on like Seattle '89 on Binge and Purge, just watch that shit and be like,
Yeah.
oh, I gotta fucking go.
We had
Yeah.
many late nights in college
Yes.
that ended with that.
Yeah, with a lot of binge and purge.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bread fin.
Oh yeah.
Honest to God, dude, I think that might be the best. This is just personal opinion. Best live album recordings.
Oh,
Yeah.
they were. That
No-
was.
no arguments here, man.
Yeah, that was gold minted Metallica,
Yeah.
as we call
Yeah.
them,
Yeah,
in that time period.
in their prime.
Yeah.
Watching coming stunts and shit and seeing like what their stage shows used to be. Like I would always
Yeah.
I need to see them do that. They have to bring it back one time. One tour.
Yeah. It's
But-
tough, man. You got to respect it. I mean, we could go off down a Metallica rabbit hole for hours, dude.
Yeah.
Like, we're, those are our
Oh,
guys.
that's
Yeah.
nasty, dude.
But, big respect to them. Like, they're still crushing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's,
And they still sound so fucking incredible.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
I mean, people, of course, the Lars hate and whatever. He's not the tightest, most proficient drummer out there, but
But he's the band, man.
Yep.
yeah. And
Yeah.
the ear that dude has for music is
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yes.
Like, knowing how behind the scenes he is on every note that's on record, I was like, all right, dude. He may be an average drummer. I'll
Yeah.
give him average.
Yep.
But that man wipes his ass with hundreds for a reason.
Oh yeah.
He knows music.
yeah. And
Yep.
people forget, like, he's 60 years old playing Battery.
Yeah.
You know, like,
Yeah.
he wasn't an average drummer when he was playing Dyer's Eve.
Nope.
Yeah.
He
You
sure
know?
wasn't. He was ahead of the game then.
Yeah. So it's like,
You got to cut him a little slack. He's getting a little older, man.
Yeah,
That's,
dude,
that's
and-
the way it goes.
and
That's the way it goes.
drums is
Yeah.
a different animal, dude.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if I could get back there with and keep up with the cardio of playing our stuff, let alone anything
Right.
else.
And lately because Metallica's on tour again, people have been giving Kirk some shit because he fucked up Battery live at
Oh, I saw
Scrum
that.
Philly.
I saw that.
Like, I'll take it. I'll take them making those live mistakes over, playing to a track.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Most people of their age, they use backing tracks for shit. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
it's mostly the stadium bands to give it like more of a full sound. But dude, they are a stadium band.
Yeah.
They've been a stadium band since 80.
Yep.
Well, 80, 87. But like, yeah, dude, it's crazy to think that people critique mistakes so much. It shows just how real they are.
Yeah.
They're real people playing real things. But that's what the genre is all about. It's passion,
Yeah.
man.
Amen.
Yeah, play it hard, play it.
That's it.
As wrong or right as you can, but play it with passion.
Authenticity, man.
That's what it's all about. You said that well. That's 100% what heavy metal is, man.
Dude, metal's the thing that's gotten me through a lot of shit in my life. That's one thing I feel like a lot of us are connected through is we found that genre of music, we connected with it for a reason.
Yep.
So whatever it may be, whatever you're passionate about, keep being passionate about it.
Yeah, it's crazy, and it's people that are in it know it. Like people that are into metal, they know what it is.
Yeah.
Like people that aren't into it, they see it for something that it's very much not.
Mhm.
I was driving in the car the other day with my son, and Gojira was on, and we were listening to Toxic Garbage Island, and turned around, I was like, "Do you know what this song's about?" He goes, "No." I go, "It's about pollution. Like this sound, what you're hearing right now, is about like taking care of the environment.
Right.
Like you would never think that from like listening to the way that band sounds, which is another band that we love. They're
Big fan of Gojira.
yeah, they're awesome.
It's funny because last summer they did the Olympics and everyone's like, "Oh, satanic shit comes to the
Yeah,
Olympics." I'm like, "What are you
exactly.
talking about? This is a band that sings about fucking freeing the whales."
Yeah,
It's like making
yeah,
things
exactly.
humanitarian shit. Like, what's satanic about them?
That was huge. It was
Yeah.
them in the Olympics. Knocked Loose on Kimmel.
Yes, sir.
Like there's so many, you know,
Few of the biggest,
yeah,
coolest
huge,
moments in metal.
huge
this year.
things. You gotta love to see it. It's cool that people are opening their eyes and opening their arms to this genre
And their
because
minds.
yeah,
It's so important that people start opening their fucking minds, dude.
I think that's why it's happening. I think
Mhm.
a lot of people are getting, you know, things are, not everything is stale. There's still amazing bands that I'm discovering every month. I'm like, who the hell is this? Like, this sounds ridiculous, Like this band I discovered randomly a couple of years ago, Boundaries.
Oh, okay. I feel like
Um,
I've seen them before.
they're a Connecticut band. I think they got 3 records out or something. And it was one of those things where like I was listening to Spotify, the album stopped, and then it threw on this. And I remember I was like shoveling snow or something, and I had to take my gloves off and go, who the hell is this band? And usually I catch bands like that people have known about forever, and I'm just like the last one to the party.
Yeah.
But this was like their first record, and I was like, this band's sick. I'm following them. Their next album was even better. And the one they just put out, they came out last year, even better. So it's cool to see, new stuff,
Mm-hmm.
people pushing boundary. There you go. Wow, maybe that's why. But there's always going to be something new and cool and exciting to appreciate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love Spotify for that. I used to be very anti Spotify. I used to say like fuck it, let's not put our music up there. It's ruining the industry. Like no, adapting to what is currently happening. Like you need shit like Spotify. You need shit like Apple Music.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but it's a great tool. Before that was Pandora. I loved Pandora. I had no problem putting that on, but my hangups with Spotify was really like, oh, I'm not gonna make any money. Dude, no one makes any fucking money.
Yeah, nobody's making money doing that.
If it's gonna help your reach, put your shit on Spotify, get the reach, and then worry about everything else later. But like,
Yeah, I mean, I would put it everywhere, to be honest with you. Like,
yeah,
just put your music everywhere you can.
I mean, when I eventually end up releasing something, it is going everywhere.
Exactly.
I want people to hear this shit, dude. And like, I back then also it was a matter of like CDs were also more popular. Like,
Yeah.
I was in a band, so I was trying to push CDs more, but no, it was a mistake not getting anything on streaming sooner.
Yep.
Big mistake. But I found so many new bands by the same thing, like album ends and who the fuck is this? And
Yep.
it's crazy, dude. Doing this podcast, I've also been trying to keep up with like a lot of newer bands or expose myself to music that I haven't been exposed to.
Yep.
I've not really been one for deathcore, but recently I found Malevolence. Well, they're metalcore. Cryptopsy. I've been digging into Lorna Shore more. Shadow of Intent.
Yeah,
Like,
they're good.
crazy shit that's going on out there.
Yeah.
And it's more so like I need it illustrated for me. I need to understand what I'm hearing. So music videos have been huge.
Yeah.
I've been diving deep with music videos, and Shadow of Intent released one. I can't remember the fucking name now, but it was on my top 10 for like 2 weeks ago. I saw the video. I was like, this is sick. This is absolutely crazy, and it's just about like dictators through the years and how like no matter what, behind every person saying they're for the good, there is a demon inside them pushing it for their own personal agenda. They're actually like a fucking monster. And like it goes from what's it like ancient Babylon all the way through like Hitler. And it was the whole thing was illustrated. It was a cool thing to see.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a cool concept.
Like
Check it out.
very.
Yeah.
And then Cryptopsy released a new one. I had on the same week. I found them back to back. And the entire new album is about how we let technology ruin us. How we program it to stroke our own egos and we say it makes us feel good, but it's actually killing us. And I thought it was like kind of the video I found was fucking brutal. Don't get me wrong on that. It was disgusting, but it served a purpose being gross. And the whole thing was like, it was filmed through the point of view of a machine that was recording everything and live streaming. And the machine that this guy was building every day was murdering him at night. Like it went from he built it for sexual gratification and became like this violent, like gore porn thing. Half the video is censored, big censor bar on purpose. But then everyone in the comments on the video on YouTube were like, wait, why is it censored? Like,
Yeah.
that's the whole point,
That's
dude.
the point.
That's the whole point.
Yeah.
You guys are gluttons for wanting to see people get absolutely fucked up. And
Yeah.
that's the
next
whole
level
point of the
right
video.
there.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that.
And in the video, it shows like a light and looks like the machine is live streaming this shit, and people
Yeah.
are like, you see the little bubbles, like, oh my god, why is his face covered? And then people are repeating the same shit in the comments on the real video. It's like, this is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Like, this band made a statement, and if you turn the song on the radio,
You missed
you
it.
never know it.
Yeah.
You missed the point of it.
Yeah.
But you gotta watch it. And I think they just came out with a new video too, unless I'm thinking of Shadow. But one of them just dropped a new video like yesterday, so I gotta check that out.
Yeah, we'll dig
Very
into
excited
that.
about
Cool.
that. So now, what is next for you guys? Like, obviously, the first single just came out. You have another single on the way soon.
So in exactly 2 weeks,
Oh, cool!
from today, we will be dropping our next single, which is Wasteland.
Awesome.
Which I feel like the way we picked our singles will be a good sample of the whole record. So Hearts Run Dark is just a big, beautiful, heavy song. Chugs along there.
Yeah.
The next one will definitely get your attention. Just gets right to it and is a very, very heavy metal song.
Nice.
Just leave it at that.
Yeah.
Do you guys get heavier or lighter with the rest of the album?
So the setup is, I would say it has a good break, like
Okay.
in the middle. I would say it starts strong, has maybe a little interlude in the middle, and then it gets right back to the gas pedal,
Nice.
pretty much, with maybe one dip in there,
Yeah.
but not really.
Not
when you think
really.
about it, yeah.
Not really. I will say, like, I know a lot of bands probably, I know a lot of bands think this way, but even with, playlists are great. I have a zillion playlists and, but at the same time, if it's a band that I like, their work, I want to listen to their record from beginning to end because I know we're not the only ones that put thought into what's the first song on the record, what song comes after that to make that song hit harder, so
Very glad you brought that up.
yeah. So this record, I hope people listen to it from beginning to end because it does, like, I know it's cliche, but it does take you on a ride.
I just said the same exact thing today.
Yeah.
Because people, Orbit Culture dropped their new single yesterday. Some people are shitting on it. And some people are like, I'm just going to skip the song when it's on the record. And I'm like, how the fuck would you do that?
Yeah.
When a band releases a single, that's the band saying, here's a taste. This isn't the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
Every song that's in a well thought out record is there in its place for a reason. It continues the flow of the record. Do not ever sell the artist short by skipping the track that you heard before.
Yeah.
That's huge. So I'm glad that you brought that up because that is a major point that I feel like too many people miss nowadays.
They do.
Every song is
Yep.
important on the record.
100%, man. The really, really fast one doesn't sound quite as fast if it doesn't come after a song that might be a little slower and heavier,
Mhm. It's all about the impact.
100%.
Yeah, it makes it hit home.
That's awesome. Now I'm looking forward to this record even more now.
Good.
Do you guys have a release date yet?
We do.
Are you able to say, or would you rather keep it under wraps for now?
August 5th.
Oh, very cool.
August 5th.
Yeah.
Super sick.
So there's going to be 3 singles about 3 weeks apart. And
Okay.
then the album will be dropped August 5th.
That is very awesome. I
Yeah.
cannot wait.
Us either.
I'm sure. How many albums in are you guys with this one?
This is 3 for us.
Yeah.
3 records, yeah.
Wow. So 3 records in 23 years.
Yeah. Should have done more.
Hey, man, you still got
It's all
time,
good,
dude.
though.
You still got a lot of time. And I know there's a lot of bullets in the chamber with riffs, like you guys were saying before. So
100%. Yeah. We, life gets in the way sometimes and
yeah,
You know,
I'm into that.
things things happen. But, we, like you just said, we do have a lot of bullets in the chamber. It's this record particularly, I feel like has ignited us to a different level. And, I know all of us have ideas already for the next one. And, this is going to be a good springboard for us. We're definitely looking forward to getting back out there on the stage and playing this music live for people. I think you said it great before. When you see a band live, that really puts into perspective what that band is.
Mhm.
You can not that everybody does this, but you can hide behind things on a record.
Absolutely.
You know, when you see someone live, you know what that band is all about. And, you know, one of the things that we've always taken pride in is, you know, bringing it when we perform. So we're definitely excited about getting back out there.
Yeah, we will give you everything we got. That's for sure.
I can't wait.
I
You know, like I've been saying for a while now, as soon as I launched the podcast, I would say within days or weeks, you hit me up
I didn't realize
about
it was that.
Gaveldown.
Okay.
You were, I think, the first person that's like, let's do something together. So I've been looking forward to this for
Sweet.
5 months now. Very hyped to get you guys on here, but I'm also really hyped to hear more about like what you guys do. I can't wait to see you guys get on the stage either. I'm
Yeah.
fucking so stoked, dude. I've been away from the scene for so long that I'm now like finding out about the new like bands that are, well, new bands for me that I'm being exposed to that are out there doing the thing. And like bands like you guys that are just waiting to make your move. Those are the bands I'm waiting for the most. You
Yeah.
know, because I know once you get back on the stage, you're gonna fuck shit up.
Oh yeah. I mean, the thing is, like we kind of talked about it before we started, like the scene here in Long Island kind of comes and goes.
Yeah.
And like we've been a band that kind of ebbs and flows with it.
Yeah.
And like but now, like we were just talking about with Ferg, like we have all the pieces set where that we don't really have to like flow away and disappear again. So that's not gonna happen again.
No.
We're not gonna let that happen. So we're gonna drop this record and then we're gonna come out and just start crushing people. That's what we're gonna do.
Awesome.
We're going to crush people. And then once this album goes and runs its course, we have the capability. We'll get back in there. We'll do like, you know, little EPs or maybe just drop another single.
Yeah.
So we are fully poised to keep it rolling. So,
Do you have any plans to get back on the stage now?
well, we better have a plan for our record release.
Yeah.
That's probably the next thing.
100%.
If anybody out there wants to play,
Hit us up.
hit us up.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing. Like we've been out of the scene too. So we have not been around. You know more because you're more in tune with these bands. Like you see them, like you record them. So
Yeah, it's a great time for heavy music on Long Island right now.
Yeah.
And I feel like, you know, I know I'm not the only one that feels like we don't really get our due here. You know, the city kind of does sometimes, but there's a lot of really good heavy bands on Long Island that are grinding. You know, I see them all the time playing shows. You know, they're out there, they're doing their thing, and it's exciting. You know, it's awesome that you're doing this here to just raise the awareness and get people's heads turned so that, you know, the music that's being created at this place can be heard. Because I think there's a lot of people, you know, in Suffolk and Nassau that have a lot to say.
There is for sure. It's cool you mentioned the word grinding, because that was never a word that I would throw around for 80% of the bands that I used to play with. Grinding was never a word. No one ever wanted to work. They just wanted the handout. Everyone's like, fuck ticket shows. We don't want to do pre-sales. We just want to get paid. Like, you get paid when you work.
Yeah.
You don't get paid if you sit there at the end of the night saying, yeah, we drew 5 people.
right.
How much am I getting paid? Like, no, you didn't earn anything because the bar has to cover their shit first. You didn't bring a drinking crowd. That took away from the bar. Like, bands now get it. Bands now are like, okay, we are taking care of Long Island when we need to, but let's get the fuck out of here. Bands like Dead Within Days, they are out there killing it right now. They're
Yeah.
doing weekend runs
Great band.
all the time. Resist the Temptation, same thing. All the time they're getting out of here.
Another great band. Yep.
I interviewed both of them, and I loved every second of having them on. Their experiences are so cool to hear about because, I mean, Resist the Temptation has been around for a little bit now, but Dead Within Days has not even reached their first year as a band yet.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And they are constantly out there doing shit.
It's the way you got to do it. You know?
But, you know, I tried that when I was in Logan's room. Like, it's the only band that was, like, leaving the state was a viable option for. So
Yeah.
we did, like, Jersey a bunch of times. We made our way to Connecticut once. We did Maine, New Hampshire. But other than that, like, not much. We didn't really do much, but it was enough to say, like, okay, we're getting out of here. We got to push. We got to find another market. We got to get it out of here somehow. And we went state by state. We got fans following us every single show we played. I'm like, okay, this is growth. This is what we want.
Yeah.
That's a fucking grind. Put your money into some shit. Rent a van. Like, don't be afraid to put yourself out there and play to no people, because sometimes you have to. But dude, the grind is there for a reason, and it's exciting to hear that word actually means something again. You know, it's far too often of a story where like people think a grind is playing Queens, or like, oh, we went to Arlene's grocery. Like it's not. It's not close to home for you. It's not 15 minutes away, but it's also not far. Like,
Right.
you know, and those are shows where you don't really have to promote so much. You like
Yeah.
share some shit on Instagram and it's like, okay, we're good. It's, you know, that's barely work.
Yeah.
You know, owning your own studio and recording shit and saying, we have this tool, let's take advantage and put all our shit in here. That's a grind. Saying we're planning out an album release show months in advance. That's a grind. Like wanting to be better than the last time anyone heard you on record is a fucking grind. So I applaud you guys for that. And also MGR Fest is going to be crazy for scouting some bands for that show. If you need bands to play with, there's going to be a lot of metal, but there's also a lot of more melodic stuff going on there too. So it's going to be a great
Cool.
show.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. It's going to be cool.
You coming through?
Is that the one? Is that the one in Riverhead?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'll be there. What is that one? July 26th?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was so psyched that you were a vendor for that, by the way.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
We got put in the vendor chat.
Nice.
And I was like, oh fuck, Dan's a part of this.
Yeah. That's cool. I try to get to as many as possible. It's tough because when I'm out of the show, then I'm not recording.
Yeah.
So it's, you know, it's tough to trade that off, but it's definitely important to get out there and support the scene and be around. And
Well, it also works hand in hand for you too, because you go to these things as a vendor, people notice what you're about and they say, oh, we need to record. Let's
Yeah.
get in.
yeah, at the end of the day, it's, I want to work with bands that are excited about what they're doing.
Yeah.
And, I want to go see people that are doing their thing. And like you said, that are actually grinding and, but yeah, it's 26 is gonna be a good time.
That's awesome, man. I'm very excited for you guys. All right, we're back on. So now being around as long as you guys have, I know we talked about this off camera before we started, but you guys have played, I think, every venue that I've always wanted to play.
Oh, probably. Yeah.
So tell me some stories, man. Tell me what it was like being in the scene in 2002, because I was most definitely not in the scene yet, and I would love to know what it was like back
So
then.
going back to the grind, I'll start. Dan has a better memory than me. It's always been the way. He'll run you through the whole list of places that we played.
Yeah, I don't know why. My short-term memory sucks, but my long-term memory is freakish.
But I'll tell you this. In the early 2000s, I played a lot of rock and roll shows for beer.
Yeah.
Just beer. All right. Beer.
Yeah.
And just playing and getting out.
Yep.
So
That was-
CBGB was a great one.
Yeah, that
You
was
guys
really
always play
cool.
CBGBs?
Yeah.
It was,
Dude.
there was nothing glorious about it.
Nope.
It was like a Tuesday night or something.
Yeah.
But we were on that stage, and that's cool to be able to say.
Yeah.
Yeah, no doubt.
Big respect to that place.
We were going through Worcester a lot when a lot of like heavy metal was rolling then. It's like a lot of Kill Switch
Oh, cool.
going on.
Well, yeah, I mean that's like the birthplace of metalcore.
Yeah.
Was Boston.
Yeah. So we played a ton of shows up there.
Yeah, it was the venues are escaping my.
Toad's Place was always awesome.
In Connecticut.
Yeah, I love that place. That might be my favorite venue that we've ever played.
Yeah.
Really?
And we
So
played there,
it's-
probably played there 3 or 4 times.
Yeah.
And it was always awesome. Awesome. But it's the same thing. We had to grind. Like we had to
Yeah.
go up there. We had to bring our people that would come. And we would go up there before the show
Mhm.
and walk around for like 4 or 5 hours.
Wow.
And we'd be like, yo, this show's going on tonight. And some people that you gave the thing to, they'd come and you'd be like, oh, thanks for coming, bro. Cool. You get an extra 20, 30 people just walking around the venue,
Yeah,
like before the show even started.
for sure.
So
Toads is great. The downtown on Long Island was awesome.
awesome.
Great place, great venue.
Yeah.
I miss that place so much.
Yeah,
dude.
It's it was awesome. It's a shame that it died, but
Yeah, we had a lot of good venues go to waste here.
we did. But you know what? At the same time, like I feel like there has been way more venues that have popped up, you know, it just since our last record, you know, in the last 5 to 6 years, there's been a bunch that are, I see bands are playing, they're posting on their socials that they're playing at this place or that place. I don't even recognize the name. And I go look it up and I'm like, that place looks cool. But yeah, it's been cool. We've been all over the place, man. Like Jersey, the city, Massachusetts, all over the island from East End to West End. We played
The city, anywhere.
we played a show out by him. So he grew up in Southold.
Okay.
Way out east.
Yeah, North Fork. And they did like a little festival. For a couple of years they were doing that, right?
Yeah.
And they just get all the local bands and someone backs in a flatbed truck and that's the stage
That's sick.
in someone's backyard. And that was a ton of fun.
Yeah, that was
That's
awesome.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
I remember playing that and the night ended with like members of every band on stage just jamming.
Yeah.
I remember we played like Crazy Train.
Yeah.
And like we played it like a Metallica song, and someone was like, "How do you play this again?" And it was like this, then this, and this. It's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
And it's like everybody just having a good time, and that's what you want. You want to go out to when you're playing live. Want to bring your energy, bring your music, and then have a good time with the people that are there.
Damn straight.
That's the stuff you remember. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of open mic nights at the downtown.
Yeah,
That was our start.
that was our start.
That was our start. A lot of open mics. Just show up.
Old friend of mine used to do the open mic, I think every Tuesday. I think they did
Yeah,
it.
really?
I mean, I don't know Rick personally, but
I think he was the guy.
He was the guy
running
running
there.
my friend Nick that I grew up with was in a band called Nocturnal Embrace, and they did
Okay.
that shit all the fucking
Yeah.
time. I think they started. I was in 8th grade, so he was in 9th or 10th. So we're talking about like 2001, 2002, about the
Yeah.
same point.
We'd show up with little shitty amps,
Yeah.
We'd mic the hell out of them and have like 2 or 3 good pedals hooked
Yeah.
up to it. And be like, come on, crank this baby
Yeah,
up.
it's like
Let's
like
roll.
a Fender Deluxe.
Yeah, yeah,
with
100%.
a Boss Metal Zone.
Yeah,
That was
100%.
our guitar tone.
Well, that was like the tone back
Yeah, it
then.
was. Yeah, that was the tone.
Dude,
And then that chorus pedal.
yeah, that was it.
That was it. Yeah.
Yeah. Didn't have the
You
tuner
either-
pedals yet.
No
Just
tuner
doing
pedals.
chord on
Everybody's
stage.
attitude.
You either had like the metal zone or the Boss orange distortion.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
yep. We were the
And then
straight metal
vocal
zone.
chorus.
Yeah.
We were the metal zone guys.
Yeah.
That's
I
so
spent a
fucking
lot
good.
of like, so you want to talk about nerding out? Like when I was teaching myself to play guitar, when I first got that thing, I just turned all the dials way up. And I was like, yes, as loud as it can get.
Yes.
And then like after I was playing for a while, I was like, how come Metallica's guitars sound way better than mine?
Yeah.
And I would spend hours just like, what happens if I turn this dial down? It's like, oh, what is this? The mid?
Yeah.
If I turn that all the way down, it sounds
Exactly.
better. Okay,
Mhm.
cool. So it's the tone hunt started really early in my life. Like 13 years old, like spending hours just tweaking knobs.
See, he's
But,
built for it. He's built
Yeah, I
for it.
don't know. It's in there. I don't know why, but
Me or you will just get up there and we'll be like, is this as loud as this thing goes? Or what?
Oh, dude. The amount of times that I've gotten on the stage on a sound check and be like, wait, I can't hear myself.
Exactly, yeah.
Just turn that on.
Yeah.
yeah.
Then you get 3 songs in and you can't hear anything because he's too loud.
Well, I mean, that's also part on the venue, too. If they don't want to give the guitar,
That's true.
it's like,
It's true.
then you're going to deal with what I got to fucking say.
Loud is good though.
That's fine.
Yeah, that's good.
That is fine. And no earplugs because, hey,
And now I gotta wear them now.
dude, I got all sorts of shit with my ears.
Yeah.
Like, I started consciously going out to like concerts and wearing earplugs and shit.
Yeah,
I
you got
hate
it. It sucks, but
Yeah, I fucked
you-
my shit up.
oh, now it's got me. Yeah, if you're using your ears, you gotta protect them, otherwise career's
Problem
gonna
is-
get cut short.
Yeah, no doubt. Like every time I would step on a stage and play as a guitarist, I would never be able to hear myself. They would always give me such a shit mix, and like local venues don't really have
Yeah.
sound guys that care.
No, I know.
So it's like to
Some
get a
do.
good mix. Rev used to. Rev, when they had Breezy working behind the board, he would give me a pristine mix.
Yeah.
I would hear myself, I would hear the bass, I would hear the vocals, and I don't need to hear shit from the drums. But like ever since then, it was kind of like no disrespect to the drums, they're loud enough. But yeah, I need to lock in with everybody else. I don't need to lock in with the drummer who's loud as fuck already. But like
Yeah.
ever since then, they were just like, okay, yep, that sounds good out here. They wouldn't do shit about what sounds good on
No,
stage.
yeah.
And like I would get 2 songs in, pop my ear things out. I'm like, can't hear anyway. So it,
I feel like part of that is like, I mean, what I've noticed with us is sound guys are sound guys, but we've gotten approached by multiple sound guys and been like, your tone is awesome,
yeah,
and I feel like if they hear something that they like, they may be more motivated to make it sound as good as you want it
Yeah.
to. If it's a 16-year-old screamo band that just like cranks everything up and doesn't care, like why they're gonna put the effort in kind of thing. But
also understanding your amp. Like I still do not understand fully what my amp does.
yeah,
I like
what are you playing through?
this little Black Star.
Oh, nice.
It's yeah, it's digital, so I can wire it up to my computer and just
Nice.
use everything like plugins and shit. But yeah, like I'll look up like presets for Metallica on the Black Album. Metallica's chorus in the 80s is the best chorus sound I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, man.
So I finally got that tweaked where I'm like, all right, found it, saved the patch. I'm never getting rid of it. But the distorted tones, I'm all over the place. Like I love a good Metallica tone, but I love the Machine Head tone. So like Metallica tone doesn't really work for what I write. The Machine Head one does, but I can't find a way to blend them because I don't know what to do. So that's where fucking
Call that guy.
Yeah. Sounds like you need a producer.
some may say. So no, you guys got to play in Massachusetts when metalcore was becoming the monster that it is now. Did
Yeah.
you get a chance to
Yeah.
play with any of the starting up bands like Shadows Falls or
No,
Kill Switch?
unfortunately, like we were so like, we were just becoming a band and finding our sound.
Yeah.
And I feel like we were very much not in tune to that scene yet.
Mm-hmm.
It was happening and it was cool, but we were like, like we said before, like we were like Metallica, Pantera DNA. So we were like writing riffs like that.
Yeah.
And that's not what was happening at the time. So we were kind of just like still finding our way when that happened. And
We opened some decent shows though, and like
Yeah.
people were digging that, but they were not there for that. You know what I'm saying? They were there for the next phase, which
Yeah.
was all that Kill Switch
Yeah.
and all that type of music.
Did you guys like what were bands that you opened up for that were like notable that you were like, holy shit, I can't believe we're on the stage?
Who are you gonna say? Who are you gonna say?
You know what I'm gonna say?
Who are you gonna say?
The sock pants guy.
Who?
We opened up for Bret Michaels once.
Oh yeah. Dude,
That was a weird combination.
it was a weird thing. So we came out and he was like, yeah, man, guys need like guitar strings or anything? We're like, no, pretty good. Like, we're ready to go. And he's like, cool. I got picks and guitar strings if you need them. Just can't use my smoke machines. All right. It's like, I wouldn't even know how the hell to use your smoke machines to start with. But yeah, it was one of those weird ones, man. That was at the Webster.
That was at the Webster, yeah, in Connecticut.
Yeah.
I don't know how we got on that bill,
I don't know either. But we were there.
It was fun. People were digging our stuff.
Was
Yeah.
Brett at least a cool dude?
Oh yeah. He was,
Oh yeah, it was awesome. Yeah, like he would like whatever you needed, just don't touch the smoke machine.
Yeah.
That was the
that was the line you couldn't cross.
yeah.
But yeah, it was.
That was cool.
Big fan of Poison. So it's good to know that he's not an asshole.
Yeah.
He always seemed like a good enough dude. Like I saw him at I forget the park, but it's in Massapequa. He did a free show there years ago and like got rained out. But earlier in the day he was like throwing a football around with army vets and their kids and shit. I'm like, that's a decent enough dude. Like
Yeah, you like to see that.
Yeah.
it's wholesome. It's good to know that not every rock star is a piece of shit. So many of them.
Yeah.
But was that like the biggest name that you guys have played with?
We opened up around the same time. It's weird. I don't know why they stuck us with hair metal people, but we opened up for Nuno Betancourt once.
That's cool as
Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah.
Nuno's a god.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you know what? This is a weird thing that happened. So that was like early 2000s. That was the height of like the Red Sox Yankees rivalry. And we played on a Friday night, like while the ALCS was going on in Connecticut.
So
And I think the Red Sox were home and nobody was at the show.
Yeah.
It was very we were like stoked. We were like, all right, cool. Like, this is a guy, he's a killer guitar player, like stoked to get on stage. No one there for us. We're like,
Damn.
all right, I guess they're rolling in later. Nope.
No,
No?
I never came.
Nah.
Oh man,
It was
that's rough.
It was rough. That was
Marauder was a good one. That was in
Yeah,
Blackthorn.
we played with Marauder.
Yeah.
That was semi recently.
Yeah. That was at Blackthorn in Queens
Oh, cool.
when that was
That's a
still
good
around.
venue.
Yeah. So
I,
I got a little hardcore bill, which it was a good one.
I miss the venue. I don't miss the people that run it.
Yeah.
I mean, like John was cool. Nicky Camp's a fucking asshole though. No problem saying that. Fucking hated working with that guy. And R.I.P. Scandato. That truly sucks.
Yeah.
That he passed. But yeah, Nicky Camp. I never had a good experience with the dude.
Yeah.
He started shit with us every fucking time we played there.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah. It is what it is, man.
yeah, dude.
Yeah.
Like he told my old singer he's not allowed to bring his own water on stage. He has to go buy it from the bar. It's like, dude, I need warm water because I'm a vocalist and I don't want to go spend money at the bar for a cold cup of water. He's like, well, you're not bringing that on the fucking stage. You're not going to get on the stage. I'm like, just go buy the water, dude.
Yeah.
He put it in your coat,
Seems
take
like-
it in. No, he chugged it right then and there and threw the bottle at Nicky Camp. I was like, oh, it's probably not the best way to go about it.
Yeah.
Awesome, but not the way to go about it.
That's
But no, it was a cool venue. They were like the one venue that gave a shit about making a band look like a band on stage.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
They revved it up with the production.
Yeah,
and
the
played
lights
these
were
full
cool.
lights and shit. Like the smoke machine. So you
Yep.
get lost in the smoke. You can't see shit. But
Yeah. It was
it
cool.
was awesome. The I think the second to last time I played there was for Agnostic Front. We were open.
Oh, okay. That's good.
I told the story last week with Pathmaker. I had them here and like we were about to do an event sevenfold cover in front of like I would say 200 people. The
Yeah.
bar was packed out for Agnostic Front. We were the first band on the bill. They hated us. They straight up did not want anything to do with us. And my other guitarist was doing vocals at the time because we were in between vocalists. And he grabs the mic. He's like, "All right, any Event Sevenfold fans out there?" And one guy in the middle of the crowd goes, "Eh."
I'll take it.
got-
Here you go.
We got this
Yeah.
for half an hour. It's like we should just leave quietly.
Yeah.
Uh,
It's tough. It's
Hell
tough
out.
when it's like that, man. It's tough when they're not feeling it.
It was brutal.
Yeah.
Fucking brutal. Just
Yeah.
sitting there like no one in this room likes what they're hearing.
Yeah.
That sucks. Like not even one dude is like, "This is cool." We
Yeah.
were the only ones into it. And like it's just
sometimes it stays like that, and sometimes you win them over.
Yeah.
yeah.
We've had plenty of those shows, and there's been shows that they started like that, and then by the end of it, there's a pit, and there's
yeah.
there's that one guy in the front that's still like this, but the rest of everybody in the crowd is into it.
That's why
So
we
it's-
started doing covers in that band. Because like someone is gonna like at least a cover that we do.
Right.
And we did Unholy Confessions by Avenged, but we also fucked around a lot. Like we did Since You've Been Gone, but we did the A Day to Remember version
Nice.
of the Kelly Clarkson cover.
Okay.
And like that was the one that ironically that won the most people over.
Yeah.
Look, we're playing a Kelly Clarkson song at a metal show, and we have 20, 30 people at any given point singing the
Yep.
songs and moshing their balls off to it. All right, it's a win.
I'm not very good at taking no for an answer either. I'm up there fronting the band. So one way or the other, you're gonna get into it.
Yeah.
Or I'm just gonna directly call you out.
That's the kind of shit, dude.
It happens.
I begged my last singer to do that. He's
Yeah.
like, "No, it's got to happen organically, or it doesn't mean anything."
No,
I'm
no,
like,
no,
"Fuck
no,
it,
no,
You got to be
no.
at the front of the stage.
No,
and
I'll
like,
make you.
get them into the fucking pit, dude.
I will make you feel me.
Yeah.
And this band,
Yeah.
I will. Hands down.
Yep.
Ferg knows.
Oh yeah. No
Sometimes
worries.
I get up there
No
and,
worries there.
and I just start ripping and it comes out and we're having a good time.
Mark of a good front man, dude. Connect with that crowd
Yeah.
right away.
That position is
Get on stage,
locked in.
command that shit, dude.
Yeah, you just got to command it, man, even when it's tough.
Yeah,
And then you still have fun. And then it's fun for the boys too.
dude,
Yep.
especially
You know?
when it's tough. That's when you
Yeah.
gotta do it the most.
Exactly.
You know, anyone can play to an empty room and eventually get someone to be like, "All right, I'm gonna like at least get closer to the stage." But to get people to have fun and enjoy and mosh like we've seen like the fucking favorite bands, dude, that's a gift.
Yeah.
But you have to be able to command an audience. If you can't
Yeah.
get on stage and be like, "Hey, you're gonna fucking do this," it's
Yeah.
like telling you to do this.
Yeah.
You know, like almost make them feel like you're gonna beat the shit out of them if they don't.
Yeah, but never.
No.
Okay,
Probably not. Probably not.
No, dude.
Call him out on stage, be like, "Hey,
Just come on.
after the show, you're fucking toast,
Yeah,
bro."
Come on, man. You come here to hear a heavy metal show, or you're just gonna hold up the bar over there, man?
Exactly.
Like, what are you gonna do?
Yep.
Come on.
Like, I don't watch shows anymore. I'm pretty far past it, but like, even so, I'm not gonna be the guy at the back of the room.
No, right?
If there's a pit, I'm not gonna be like, I'm gonna stand up front and ruin everyone's fucking time in the
Yeah,
pit.
right.
Like, no, I'll chill in the back for that. But if there's no one standing at the front of the stage, I'm gonna be the one at the front of the stage being like, yo, I'm here to support my dudes. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, come on
You
up.
need to come in here or not?
Come on up.
Make my fucking ears hurt. Let's
Yeah.
do this.
Amen.
But that's cool, man. That you guys got to see so much of New England in the earlier days and like really experience the come up of your own, but also of a genre, of an entire scene, and like basically a fucking movement at that point. Metalcore was so new, new metal was so new that like 2002. I don't even think most of the bands we know today were out.
Yeah.
That was the beginning of bands like Disturbed and fucking Linkin Park and Slipknot and shit. And you guys were like watching that come up too.
Yeah. We spent a lot of time in Worcester, dude. That was like a definite birthplace of all that.
That's so sick, man.
We were trying to get connected with like promoters and stuff up there. It's just wasn't our time then, you know.
Yeah.
But awesome scene up there.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
It was cool.
It's still one of the best scenes in the country up there. The Palladium was one of the best spots in the fucking country. So now when you guys played, you know, like Long Island shows, like you did the downtown, which is a fucking legendary venue. Like Slayer has played the downtown.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Mushroom Head, the bigger bands of that era came through there, and that was a standard. Now we can't get them through like the Paramount.
I know. Unearth has I think one of their biggest music videos of all time.
Yeah.
It's a live performance at, I mean, it's the track, but it's their performance at the downtown.
Yep.
Yeah.
Actually, a guy we went to college with punches somebody in the face in the video.
Yeah, that's cool.
He's like, yo, check this out. That's
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
But yeah, man, that place was sick.
What's your favorite venue you've played here on the island?
Aside from the downtown?
Yeah.
What would you say?
I was digging 89 North for sure.
Yeah.
It's a cool place.
That is a cool venue.
That was a cool venue.
I think I'm with you on that one.
Yeah, right? Nice stage, big room,
Yeah.
you know? Nice place.
Had good sound too.
Yeah.
Fantastic sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was the one place that I walked into that was like, this feels like a New York City venue.
Yep.
But like right in the middle of that.
Yeah.
Yep.
The green room setup was sick. I was
it's
expecting
awesome.
that.
It's
Going
crazy.
like, yeah, free beers and stuff. You're like, but we're the opener.
Yeah, they don't care.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
Go enjoy some beers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sit
Sick.
upstairs, warm up. It's like, you know, it's like a
It feels like a real, like,
It's a real
how
venue.
you should be treated
Yeah.
as a band.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good one.
Yeah.
I love that place. I mean, now they're doing like 99% cover bands that go through there, but
Yeah.
they still rent out to locals and shit. You just gotta, I think, pay a premium on it. But
Doesn't mean that we can't make waves, you know.
100%.
It's all about keeping the community together, you know.
you get enough people behind you,
That's
you,
it.
you accomplish anything.
That's it. That's why, I mean, even all these bands now that are up and coming, and even if they're trying to get out of here, right?
Mhm.
If home base is here, you want to connect with everybody that's here too.
Yeah.
Because then we can put on some sick shows. You know what I'm saying? And that's the key.
Mhm.
That's the key. These places just try to keep the doors open, you know.
Yeah.
That's why they have all these acts coming through. Because they know somebody's gonna come. Like I think even tonight, I was looking at the schedule at 89 North, or it's soon. It's like a Slipknot cover band.
Yeah.
Which in itself is cool, but like
I,
I'd rather hear some original music,
Yeah.
you know?
right.
Yeah.
If I'm going to a bar on the island or anywhere, I'm gonna want to hear your local sound. I don't want to
Yeah.
hear a sound that I'm gonna go pay at an arena to go see the real band.
Right.
I don't want to see the thing that kills me is that like I keep saying this on the podcast too. I'm very outspoken when it comes to cover bands and tribute bands. There's no originality, and that's why I shut it out.
Yeah.
But there's a band out here called the Monster Stage that they're doing all the heavy shit from the Warped Tour era. From like, you know, from Warped Tour, the Monster Stage was the one where they would put Motionless in White and Of Mice and Man, like all the core bands at that point. They're doing all those covers in a band called Monster Stage, and it's one of the cooler ideas that I've heard of.
Yeah, that's cool.
Because no one covers this shit. No one covers old school like Asking Alexandria anymore. No one covers the Devil Wears Prada. Like
Yeah,
they're doing it. So I
Yeah.
support that. I support originality, and if you're gonna do a cover band, make it original,
right.
to whatever you can. But then you see like they have a Taylor Swift cover band.
Yeah,
They have a Zach Brown cover band. It's like you don't need this shit. These people are currently touring.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it costs asshole amounts of money to go see them, but like
yeah,
go see the real artists.
yeah.
Don't go pay someone to fake it for you. Go see the real thing. If you love them, find a way. But like it's just, the Slipknot cover band thing. It's great.
Yeah, whatever.
It's-
And it's overplayed. There's like a million of them. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
It's not something we need. Like there's two Guns N' Roses cover bands that do the exact same fucking music.
yeah,
The exact set. It's like we don't need two of you fight it out, deathmatch style.
right.
Yeah.
Winner take all.
Cover bands are good for background music.
Yeah.
You're just going to the bar to hang and there's music playing. But like if you're going to see live music, we'll see some original live music.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the thing that kills me is that I would love it if I were to go to a bar on like a Thursday night and there was a good cover band playing where I could just chill out and have a couple of drinks, shoot the shit with my friends, and then go home when I want to. They're getting the Friday and Saturday nights at the biggest clubs that we have.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's
Yep.
shutting out original music, and that's the problem that I have with it, is that at least here on Long Island, we are so overrun by it, and there's so many super talented original bands that will never get a spotlight that they deserve because of shit like that.
Yeah. You're right.
You're right.
89 North used to be the venue where like you would go there and you would see you'd see original bands before you'd see cover band. And then COVID happened and everyone has to start recouping their money.
Yeah.
So now it's dominantly cover bands.
Yeah.
Emporium, same thing, or Stereo Garden now. Same thing. They give their room to the bands that can draw the most, which is 100% of the time going to be a cover band.
Yeah.
I get it from a business point of view, but at the same time, original music on Long Island has, like you said before, it even flows. Like we constantly see the fluctuation, and that's because we don't have the
Yeah.
same opportunities.
Yep.
MGR is another one. I feel like that's going to kick a lot of doors down for a lot of people
Yeah.
because there's never been, well, at least since I've been playing, there's never been a festival on Long Island that showcases original talent in such a broad spectrum where it's like, we're going to have two stages. We're going to have this whole big thing set up. We're going to host bands from out of state, and it's going to be the same treatment that we treat our own with. Like, it's a big thing. So,
Yeah.
like, hopefully things like that will kick doors down here and people will take it seriously like they should. I keep telling Tom, like, you got to hit up News 12. You got to get some publicity on this thing because they will
Yeah.
cover it. But,
Yeah, 100%.
yeah, shit like that, I feel like it just needs the right level of exposure.
Yeah.
Agreed, man. It's here. The talent's here. The music's here.
100%.
Just people gotta know about it. You know?
There's fucking talent on this island, dude. It kills me that so many people are going unrecognized,
Yeah.
which is why I'm doing this. I it's only 3 bands a week that I put on like the top 10, but 3 bands a week, and I'm only interviewing locals for the most part. I want to grow past interviewing locals, but I'm never going to turn them away ever.
Yeah.
Like I've been trying to get Dry Kill Logic a little bit because
Okay.
they're on their
Yeah.
big reunion thing. I've been trying to get other artists that are not necessarily out of reach, but can give me some notoriety too, because I want other bands to get to that level and have the exposure of other people who are like, oh shit, Dry Kill Logic is on this show. Let me check it out. And then they're hearing
Yep.
these other bands by proxy. I've been doing this, like, I've been in this scene for 17 years, so not nearly as long as you guys have been playing, but it's long enough for me to understand that bands have never had a voice.
Oh yeah.
And I want to do my part to make sure that I can give a voice to the voices, so to speak.
Noble.
Because I've been there, dude.
Yeah.
I've fucking
Yeah.
been there, and it sucks.
Yeah.
Like grinding it out, knowing that no one's gonna take a chance on your music because you don't fit a certain standard or a quota. Like that's bullshit,
Yep.
Yeah, man.
You can't get on the radio anymore. Fingers Metal Shop is dead. Like this is really nothing for bands out there. Like the Shark can eat shit because they don't do anything for locals. They did for a hot minute, but they took it away. And it's also like you gotta listen at like 11 o'clock at night. No one's
Yep.
doing that shit. No one's turning on the FM radio at 11 o'clock at night to hear their song for 2 minutes after a commercial.
Yeah. Not in this day and age, man.
No, dude. Everything's digital. Everything
Yeah.
now it's like terrestrial radio used to be a thing that you would shoot for. Now it's like you want to get on streaming, you want to get on Sirius XM because that's really where you're going to get your exposure. No one gives a shit about FM radio anymore.
No, absolutely
It's
not.
like saying you're going to put your shit on a cassette.
Yeah.
Even though cassettes are actually making kind of a resurgence now.
Yeah.
It's kind of wild.
Yep.
Vinyl.
Vinyl.
It's going back.
Huge right now.
Yeah.
History repeats itself.
Yeah.
Which I thought was kind of crazy because it was just like a rock and indie thing for a while. And then metal started taking it on. And now I'm seeing stores like Looney Tunes promoting like Sabrina Carpenter vinyls. And like
Yeah.
pop fans are even doing this shit now.
Yeah.
It's wild how it's going. And CDs are basically dead.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's crazy, dude.
Yep.
But it's interesting to see like the flow of how people consume, you know.
Yep.
Yep.
In 10 years, it'll be something different that we don't even know about yet.
Dude, in
Yeah.
like 3 years it's gonna be different.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that's true.
It's going at a faster rate than I think we're gonna even expect, you know. CDs didn't even have that long of a run.
It's true.
No. The last one we pressed a bunch. We
Yeah.
had a bunch of CDs because everybody wanted a CD,
Yeah.
you know.
The
We wouldn't even
problem
think
now-
about making one now.
I know. Oh, I wouldn't even have that conversation.
No, not
It's
even
like
a
they're
conversation.
They're just streaming it, right?
Yeah.
And if you wanted to do something like vinyls, vinyls are so expensive to press, dude.
Yeah.
Hundreds of dollars to do. I mean, more actually. If you want to get like a pressing of 1,000, you're paying 10 to 15 grand, I believe. It's so much fucking money to get it done right. But like the turnaround is like if you sell X amount at X amount of money, you make the money back quicker. But you have to really invest in your shit.
Yeah.
It's not exactly worth it. My
That
math is-
entails like a whole remaster too, just to get
Yeah.
it to sound good on the vinyl too.
yeah,
100%.
So,
my math is definitely skewed with that example, but you know what I mean.
Yeah.
yeah.
It costs a shitload of money, and like that's the other thing. A side of things that bands don't get is that you do have to invest in yourself to a degree.
Yeah.
Recording is a huge step. You know, a lot of bands are afraid of that. DIY has become such a prominent thing.
I know.
I know me personally, I've never had a great experience in studio, which is why I started doing it at home because I get bad like red light fear and shit. Like if I see the recording light going, I'm like,
Yeah.
all of a sudden I forget how to play my
I
shit.
hear that a lot, unfortunately. That makes me scratch my head because,
Just keep playing.
yeah. Well, not the red light thing so much, but like I had a bad experience in X studio.
Oh,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like, this guy, I felt like I was just there and he was just hitting the button and said, all right, is that good? Are you done? And then whatever.
Yeah.
And I know there's tons of really great producers that actually do care.
Yeah.
It's, for me, it's like I only work with bands that I know that I can help,
Mhm.
and I want to be working with bands that are invested in their music, DIY is great for, if you want quantity and you want to keep putting stuff out. Some people, they just want to machine gun their art, and
Yeah.
that's, no stones. That's fine. But my thing is I always go back to, music is immortal.
Yeah.
I've said this 100 times, but like, you're going to be listening to the song that you put up on Spotify in 20 years. What are you going to be more proud of, the DIY recording or the one that you went to a studio to record with, an engineer that knew what he was doing and,
Yeah.
a mixer that could, have your sound in mind when he made the record, when he finished it up.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it's part of taking your music to the next level is investing in the things that are important. Have good instruments, take care of them. Write a good song, get another set of ears on it, have it tracked properly so that all the little tiny things add up to an aggregate great result.
Mhm.
It's I tell people all the time. It's like people always ask like, what's the special sauce? What's the secret trick? What's it's there isn't one. It's thousands of really, really small moves,
Yeah.
that add up. If you make a lot of really small, good decisions, in the end, it's
Mhm.
gonna make the whole thing better. Like I told these guys when I started mixing the record, it's like, I'm not wrestling with this mix because the ingredients are bad. It's, just trying to get it to the spot that I have in my head. But like the tracks that we have in the computer are phenomenal. You know, like this guy crushed his vocal performances. You know, our drummer killed it. Our bassist was dialed in, you know. So when it came time to mix a record, like, I mean, honestly, the final demos, like after we have tracking sessions, I'd send the rest of the band, you know, here's where we're at on this song. And, you know, it's the amp sim guitar and kind of unprocessed vocals and not much happening on the drums. And it already sounded good,
Yeah.
you know? And everybody was like, man, it sounds good already. Like, what are you going to do to it? I'm like, I'm going to make it sound better. I'm like, don't worry. I'm not going to screw this up. But yeah, man, invest in yourself, invest in your sound, invest in your music. It's, you know, you're not going to be kicking yourself, you know, that you spent money to make your art better. You know, kick yourself for buying the $17 Frappuccino at Starbucks 3 times a week. That's a waste of money, you know?
I think coming from personal experience, like there's only been one situation where I've been in a studio where someone was objectively hearing what we were doing and said, hold on a second. I think that this element could take you to the next level. And we actually ended up putting that on record because it was solid advice. But that was one time, and that was the first studio I was ever in. And I've never had that. I've been in 3 different studios for 3 different projects. And like, I never got the same feeling, you know? It always felt like it was either a rush job or the engineer would just kind of be like looking at his watch being like, well, time is my money. So like it never really felt like there was someone that gave a shit about what we were doing.
Yeah.
Which is adding to the negativity behind it.
Yeah.
Because truth be told, like it's a daunting thing being a band going into a studio, and it's a pretty uncomfortable thing if you're just like feeling like you have to rush because you have your budget and you don't know what you're spending your money on.
Yeah.
You know, like I don't want to name names for this one, but the last studio experience I had, we were told to be there by 11. We were all there by 11 o'clock. We were told we're not allowed to come inside until 1 o'clock. I was like, what the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah.
Engineer was taking his time, tuning in, mixing everything down. I'm like, we were told 11 o'clock. So we've been on the clock paying for 2 hours, sitting around with our thumbs in the S's in the parking lot. It was like, time is our money too, you know? Like, let us get in there. You can mix this shit later, but let's get in there and start tracking shit because we got things to do today.
Right.
We don't have like till 6 o'clock to be doing this. Like, people got to go to work. People called out of work for this. Like, we got to make every second count. And left a bad taste in our mouths. We actually didn't like finish up the record, but
You just said it. You just said like that's the one thing I never want anybody to say. It's like, I mean, you're in the service business.
Yeah.
Like, no band should ever leave like as a studio owner or producer, no band should ever walk away from you with a bad taste in their mouth. Like, you didn't do your job. Like, if you had an argument over, you know, you trying to make their record better and they didn't want to hear it, that's a different thing. But like, you're making freaking art. Like, you should be having fun, you know? And I feel like, you know, even though these guys are my own band, like when we're in there working, it's work, but we're having a freaking good time doing it, you know? And it's, you know, everybody's going to need something different when they're tracking. Like, I know that like him and the drummer and the bassist, like I know like the little push points for each one of these guys to, you know, to get them to perform to the level that they're capable of. And like everybody needs something different, but it's never done like, you know, in a way that's going to make the experience bad, because who wants to do that?
Yeah.
You know, you should be being creative and it should be exciting.
See, I was the last band I was in, I started the band. So me and the drummer started the band. And I started it as a thing where it's like, I've been sitting on music that I've been writing since high school. This is the band I wanted to start to put 100% of that out.
Yeah.
I had 2 songs that we actually did. So out of my intended like 13, 14 songs, we had 2. And I was like already kind of salty about that because it was my baby. So if we go to a studio, I want to record the shit that I brought to this. I compromised a lot.
Yeah.
And even so, the songs that I got that were supposed to be on that album, we ended up cutting short because I got outnumbered and they're like, this is too long. I don't like this. So, all right, fine. Do you think I'll agree to a point, but at the same time, it's like, I'm already compromising.
Yeah.
I have a certain style that I play with. Like I'm not a speed pick guy. I'm not like a technical kind of guy like that. I play a lot of legato. So like I'll let my fingers do the talking a lot. I won't necessarily go heavy with the pick hand. Um Certain songs we were doing, the other guys were like, we don't like the way you're playing this. That's how I play it. Well, we need to hear the string hits. I'm like, you don't need it live. You don't need it when we rehearse. Why do we need it now? It makes no difference. This is my style. You know my style
Yeah.
by now. And they're like, well, we want him to track it instead because he could do all the down picking shit. I'm like, all right, so you tell me you don't even want me on the fucking record.
Yeah.
Like certain shit like that, it's like,
So you guys paid for studio time so you could go fight each other.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like we couldn't have this talk any other time, but when we're
Yeah.
sitting right here as I'm playing,
Yeah.
you're telling me like you don't like how I play.
Right,
Okay,
yeah.
fine.
I mean,
It's
that's gonna kill you every time. I don't care what they. I mean, I would think the best advice from like an artist standpoint, right?
yeah.
You better have a pretty good idea of where that song starts and where it finishes, right? And then like when I go to record, all I'm really thinking of is I just gotta give them my best performance I can.
Yeah.
And then if you can get it to that point,
Mhm.
you're gonna have a great end result.
See,
Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, 100%.
Yeah.
Nailed it.
the crazy thing is I was in a band with one dude who wanted us to be a deathcore band, so he wanted everything. No, it was never going to be that. Which is where the whole like attack on the strings came in. I was like, I've played this the same way since the song
Yeah.
came out. Like, I am not going to change the look in the
Yeah.
studio. I'm not going to put myself in an uncomfortable, poor performance position
Yeah.
for the sake of you wanting us to sound like a fucking deathcore band. But it ended up affecting the whole overall energy. The engineer never took sides on anything. He never heard out like, well, let's try both ways. See which one sounds better. He like there was no mediating, which also
Right.
kind of ruined the experience because it's like be the guy that steps in to say this is also my art,
Yeah.
like this is also my name going on
Yeah.
this. Let
Yeah.
me see if I can cross paths here a little bit. But it was such a rushed overall just why are we doing this kind of feeling,
Yep.
And it sucks to say because
Yeah.
it was never going to be anything great. It was always going to be a bar band, but like, it's the investment in ourselves where it's like we are putting money into this. We are
Yeah.
going beyond our means to do it. So let's make it count. But yeah, I from that point I was just like, yeah, you know what? I don't need to go back into a studio. I don't even have a band, so like truth be told, there's no point for me to like be
Yeah.
like, let me go sink all this money. I'm programming all my drums and shit. But yeah, it's if you find a good engineer that could also like lend an ear and do the right thing, like it sounds like you are that guy. So I feel like it's a trusted thing with bands too. Like they have to be comfortable with the performance that they're doing, but also who they're doing it around.
Sure.
So if you can provide that environment, bands are definitely going to be more accustomed to saying like, okay, let's give this new experience a try.
Yeah. Well, I always start off like you can't just say, yo, trust me,
Yeah.
and then it happens,
Right.
Yeah.
But like I always start out by saying, like, yo, we're all on the same team. Like, you guys want to make a great record. I want this record to be great.
Yeah.
So like let's do it. And I'm going to be vocal about anything that I'm hearing that I think could be cooler if you change something.
Mhm.
But that doesn't mean that I'm God in this situation. Like there are times that you may want to change something or someone else might have an idea. It just goes back to the same thing. Better is better. If whether it's a bandmate that has an idea that wants to change something, or it's the producer or whoever, like, if it's going to make the song better, try it out.
Yeah. Ultimately, yeah. It's back and forth because from an artist point of view, like you do want the best possible product, but you also want to be like you want to be on the record, you want to be heard, it's the big thing. And like if it is ultimately for the betterment of the song, for the project, for the for everything, like you do need to be open minded in that sense.
Yeah.
Like, it's a hard lesson to learn to be told you're wrong. This is actually better. It sucks, but sometimes it is truly better. Like when I was with Logan's Room, that's the band that we were in. When someone, a rapper, believe it or not, was like overhearing us record this song, and he's like, "What if we tried this like Middle Eastern Egyptian sounding scale coming down from this run?" And my vocalist was like, "Yeah, we could try it, but that's not how the song's written." I was like,
Yeah.
"Give it a shot."
Yeah.
It sounded so fucking good that like no question we took that take
Yeah.
that he tried it and we put that on the record.
Yeah, it's
It
awesome.
sounded incredible. And
That's all it takes.
it
You
was
got to
just
be
one little
open-minded to
nuance.
it, you know?
But it was also someone willing to give the
advice.
yeah,
Yeah.
you know.
I mean, I guess if I was doing it again, right? Like if we didn't have what Ferg has, I would go in there as a band with probably my best song. And I'd just start there. You know what I mean? Because like even from like your story, you're like, okay, let's get in there. I want to do a whole effing album, dude.
Yeah.
I want to do the whole thing. Let's go. Now you're putting a lot of pressure on it. You know what I mean? To start, because you're like, we're doing the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then you guys aren't all on the same page. So now you're just in there fighting over every song, every riff that you're coming across. You're going nowhere.
Yeah.
So you got to I would take your best piece of music, start to finish. And I would start there. And I'd be like, let's see how this comes out. Let's see how it is working with you. Let's see how it is working with you. Let's see what it is. Then you get one in the books, then you reevaluate.
Yeah.
And you go, this is good. This is going to work. Let's do another one. You know, I would not be in like a huge rush to be like, let's do all this now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, good point.
I mean, this is we're going back
Right.
6 years at this point where like nothing was strategic, nothing was like, you know, let's put a single out. It was all or nothing, you know.
I mean, I get it, man, dude. I've like recorded everywhere. I've recorded in people's basements and closets.
Yeah.
Anywhere you can, you know. And you're showing up to these places and some guy I don't know.
Yeah.
And he's like, come on, man, let's get in there. And you're like, wait, where? In the closet?
Yeah.
Yeah, get in there. And you're like, okay, cool. You get in there, and then you're like, what time is it now? Now it's 12. This guy said like 1:30.
Yep.
It just sucks to have that kind of pressure, you know?
Yeah, because now it's in the back of your mind that you got to do this in X amount of takes.
Right.
And
Right.
who's breathing down your neck about it.
Right.
And, yeah. It's, you know, it's a lesson you have to learn over time.
Yep.
Certain experiences are going to teach you certain things. And now I know, like, if I were to ever go to a studio again, I'd probably go with you just because I like what you're putting out. But also, like, it's I could tell that you would cultivate a better environment for that kind of shit. Bad experiences last the longest, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
We've been there, man. Trust me, you've been there. We've been there.
It sucks when you feel like your creativity is being stifled by like an environment or just a situation. Like you go into somewhere and like just the band isn't clicking that day.
Yeah.
It fucks up the whole project, you know.
I mean, we've had it the other way too, where like we've gone to these guys that want to record us, and I've been there 3 days and we've recorded about 3 notes of a song.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, this is too slow. You know what I mean? So you can be on one end of the spectrum or the other.
Yeah.
You got to find somebody that works for your band and who's going to make it the best, you know? And like it flows with you guys too, you know?
It's all about the vibe.
Yeah, it is. It really is.
Like we the last thing we recorded with Logan's Room, we went to Dexter's Lab in Connecticut. So we had Nikki Belmore record us, and then Zeus mastered our shit. And that was cool to say, like, Zeus, who is a fucking god in the industry, mixed our shit. But like to get there, we recorded a whole EP in a day because we were told, like, flat rate, I'll do it for this much money.
Yeah.
But you only have this much time.
Yeah.
So we went in there first thing in the morning, and drummer fucking forgot his pedals and sticks. I'm like, dude, you're kidding me. You're worried about 2 things.
Yeah.
He has a house kit, and you fucked up the 2 things that you got to bring. So we were stressed about that because now Nick had to go get his shit out of storage to get at least pedals.
Right.
Bassist didn't want to change his strings.
Of course.
That's the one time this dude broke a fucking string.
Yep. There you go.
That's hard to do.
He hit the first note, and I'm like, "Did you just break your string?"
I did.
Yes, I did. Back to the music store. I tracked my last solo on that album somewhere around 11:30 p.m. I was sleeping on a couch, and they're like, "Hey, we're good for that solo." Like the one I was ready to do 6 hours ago.
Yeah.
What we should have done 6 hours ago.
Slows the whole process down.
I'm so mad. I woke up because I was so tired. It was such a long day. We were in Connecticut so early, and I went in. I did 2 takes on the solo. I was like, "That's the one." Just I'm fucking done.
Yeah. So you don't want to work like that, man. Like you don't want to work like that because now, right now, you're leaving there going, "Oh man, I don't know. I mean, I feel like I could have done a lot better on that." And then that sucks.
Yeah.
That is a complete, for lack of a better term, shitty feeling.
Yeah.
When you went in there and you're like, that's not even close to my best, but that's what's on the record.
And now you got to listen to it forever.
Yeah.
I will say though, it was a good take.
Okay.
All right.
I
There you
still
go.
listen back
All
to
right.
it now, and I'm still proud of it.
You made your
So,
peace with it, so it's good.
Yeah, because it was raw at
Yeah.
that point. It
Yeah,
was I'm exhausted. It was been a long day. I'm mad about how I'm tracking this so late, and you can
Yeah.
hear it in my playing that like I just cannot fucking piss with it.
All right.
So it was cool, and I'm like, all right. Ultimately, I can live with that take being the best possible take.
So we got to make you sit on the couch
Yeah.
for 6 hours
Yeah.
before every solo.
Yeah.
Got it.
Just tell me I have like
You just
50
come out and
minutes to
rip
get
it,
shit
yeah.
done. Yeah, no.
Like, just do me a favor, sit there for 6 hours, and I'm gonna come get you when the solo's ready. You got 10 minutes.
To absolutely zero fault of the studio too. I just want to throw that out there. That's just that was a fucking fantastic experience overall.
Yeah.
Situationally, internally with the band, it was not a great experience because the
Yeah.
drummer. That's one thing I listened back to that record, and I'm like, we should have never ever said that was good enough.
Yeah.
He's off time in every single song. And I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, come on, like,
Yeah.
we weren't playing difficult shit. We weren't even playing technical shit. But we were just asking if you're gonna play double bass, play to the metronome. And if you
Yeah.
can't play to the metronome, get damn close.
Yeah.
But when I listen back now, it sounds like he's a solid beat behind everything.
Oh man, that's rough. That's
Like
rough.
if a song's like this, he's playing.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
no.
like, I can't fucking
No,
look at
no,
this
no.
dude. And the songs were like decent quality too. Like we
Yeah.
put work into that, but we were also transitioning between two drummers. So
Yeah.
this guy came in and learned a bunch of shit, but he
We've
was
been
also
Drummers are hard to find. Good
Yeah.
ones.
Good ones, yeah.
he
And then when you do get the good one, pain in the ass.
dude. I have so much to say about my experience with drummers through the years, but like the two that I had in Logan's room were absolutely ridiculously abysmal. Like
Yeah.
one was both ended up being garbage humans, but one was like a toxic environment for the band, and the other
I can tell from your experiences, man.
big T. Okay, sorry for the pause. We're back. So now we have the new single from Gaveldown coming out 2 weeks, right?
2 weeks.
Sure.
That'll be on the 24th of June, and this one's titled Wasteland, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Very cool. What's the song about?
Exactly what it sounds like,
A
man.
wasteland.
Just traveling through this wasteland. We won't give up too many of the lyrics, but there's a lot of correlations to the life probably that you live now. Could be life of the past.
Mm.
Could just be the destruction of the world and how you're just trudging through the wasteland,
Cool.
Something along those lines.
When you write lyrics, do you typically write from like a personal perspective, or you were like a storyteller, or
It varies. It varies with the song. We have a couple songs that are more like a storytelling type song, but mostly it'll be what I feel from that song. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So the song makes me feel angry and like I want to get that shit off my chest. That's how the song plays out.
Cool.
So like this one, I just feel like, here I am in this wasteland.
Yeah.
Like it's just that kind of riff.
Cool.
Lyrics on this record are phenomenal.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Yeah,
I mean,
well-
on every record, he's a great lyric writer, but like on this record particularly, I think the bar got raised.
Yeah. We'll do lyric videos and stuff to get that stuff out there. So
Awesome.
I think we actually might be dropping them tomorrow, right?
Tomorrow, yeah,
The
Hearts
Hearts
Are
Are
Dark
Dark.
lyric video comes out tomorrow.
Yeah.
And you're the only lyricist for the band, or
Pretty much, yeah. Like
Yeah.
I'll lean on Ferg in certain situations, and he'll put his 2 cents in, and we'll work our way through like a few lines. But yeah, like 95%, right?
Yeah,
that's awesome. That's very cool. Yeah,
don't mess with it if it ain't broke.
Yeah, just keep it
Amen.
just keep it going, dude.
He's bringing it every record, so just let
That's what we do.
let the boy cook.
Let him
Yeah.
cook.
That's awesome to hear, dude. I like I said before, I enjoy learning about people doing their craft. So
Yeah.
like finding out, especially like bassists and lyricists are the two things that I am drawn to. Ironically, I'm not a bassist or much of a lyricist,
Yeah.
but like it's cool to hear where people write from. You
Well,
know?
it's interesting in our band. Our bassist is the best guitar player in the band.
Really?
I mean, yeah, we'll give him that. And the funny thing is, how many bases have we had? 2?
Yeah,
And I would say both
yeah.
we're both the best guitarists in the band. So you can have it. They got it. You win.
Yeah,
So
bassists are a special breed, dude.
Let's keep it real.
A good bassist is so much fun to play with. And,
Yeah.
like just if they really know how to play their instrument, it's
Oh,
an
yeah.
amazing instrument to
Yep.
hear.
Yep.
You know,
Well, the cool thing is like there are a lot of on this record. There's a lot of bass moments. It's not just a doubling guitar record.
Mhm.
There's the bass speaks a lot on this one, which I think is really cool. Um, there is actually one song where he does play guitar. There was there's a little bridge in one of our songs that needed like a bluesy melodic like type of solo.
Couple
And
of chops, little floaters coming
yeah,
through
yeah.
there.
and
So,
it was actually his last day of tracking bass. And I was like, do me a favor. I was like, pick up that guitar real quick. I was like, I'm gonna play you the bridge, and I want you to just noodle, just do your thing. And I let him go. He must have done just 22 loops, and I was like, my idea was because I was hearing two like dueling like blues guitars, kind of like going back and forth. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna have you play one, and I'll play the other one. He's like, all right, cool, I'll do that. But what he played was so great. I was like,
Yeah.
I'm not playing this
Yeah.
solo. I was
That
like, I'm
was
just gonna
awesome.
take what you did and chop it up, and so that it came out really cool.
Awesome.
I think that's the other cool part about this record too, is like we have things where like he played that part, right? Like we'll know that. Nobody else will.
Mhm.
We have parts of the vocals ending some songs that are from our demo.
Mhm.
Like we know that.
Yep.
Nobody else will. So it's just cool from like a band standpoint, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like, yeah, I know what that is.
That's the art of it.
Yeah.
That's the cool
Yeah.
part.
Yeah.
Lots of Easter eggs
Yeah.
that only we know about.
Yeah.
So no, new single 2 weeks. The album comes out August 5th of this year, also titled Hearts Run Dark. Um, what's your favorite track from that album?
It's like asking me which is my favorite child.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, favorite riff, favorite
for me, I mean the title track is up there, man. It's when we wrote that song, everybody was like, "Yo,
Yeah.
this is a good one." You know, those moments where you get hit with like how stoked on something that you are, not
Yeah.
just because it's new, but because like there's like a visceral reaction there. So Hearts Run Dark is up there for me. The first song on the record is an absolute just bloodbath of speed and aggression.
Can't wait to hear that.
It's very cool. That one's really good. And our third single that's going to come out, whatever the hell 3 weeks is from the 24th.
That puts you 3 weeks from 24. We got 1, 2, July 15th.
Yeah,
Yeah, that sounds right.
I'm a big fan of that one too. But I mean, we talk about it all the time. It's like, you get into writing and tracking, and maybe you don't listen to this song for like a month or two, and then it's like, oh Jesus, I forgot how good this song is, and it's, I don't know, we're super proud of this one, man. What about you?
Fun.
Favorite songs?
So, fun fact about the album, I'm gonna give you one. Lyric wise, the record starts with like, I did it as like a tribute to being in this band so long, and like the process. So the record starts with that, and you listen to the record all the way through. The last song ends with that, and how like we're never gonna stop doing that. So
That's
it's a
sick.
cool thing to know about the album.
Dude,
So-
see, like shit like that
Yeah,
is my favorite thing about music.
yeah.
The little tiny details,
Yeah.
that's like it just keeps going and going and
So
going.
when that thing drops on the 5th, when that first song comes on, that song is about our journey for the past 23 years. And when that album ends, it's how the journey will continue.
That's so cool. Man.
Yeah. Favorite song though? There's a song on there. It's called Cold Steel Screams. Love it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
I'm super excited for this album.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Not just saying that because I'm in the band. It's good. It's fire stuff. It's
You
good.
should say that because
Yeah.
you're in the band.
Well, you never know. Ricky's been playing drums and got a bass guitar, and Bobby plays the guitar, and it's like, hey, listen to this, and you're like, yeah, boys, all right, just keep grinding.
I will say, guys, having started this podcast, I have done it now for about 5 months. And every single time I sit down with a band and I learn about a new band, it gives me that same feeling of watching Seattle '89.
Yeah.
you guys all inspire me so much, and I need to say that to all the bands that I've interviewed, to you guys, thank you so much, because you guys
Yeah.
inspire me too. You guys inspire the shit out of me, and I can't wait to hear what you do. I'm such a huge fan of people's art, especially in the metal genre and hard rock. Like everything else is fine too, but this is my blood pumping.
Yeah, man.
This is my passion too, and I love it. I love that people come on and share their stories. So thank you guys so much for coming on and sharing your stories. with me.
Thank you for doing.
Yeah,
what
thanks
you're
for doing this. This is good. We need more awareness. We need to build the scene.
We do, and any way I can help do that is what I'm here to do.
Yeah.
Well,
So
you're doing it, man.
You're doing it.
Keep doing it.
Keep doing it.
And I do want to throw in real quick before we wrap things up. You're going to be one of the vendors at MGR Fest.
Yes.
So what do you have planned for the fest, dude?
I'll have a table there. I'll be walking around. I want to talk to some people. I want to, come over, say hey, have a drink. I will be raffling off an overdrive pedal, and a free recording session at the studio.
Ooh.
shit.
Yeah.
I hope I win that.
Yeah, fucking- How
Um,
much are these raffle tickets and how much do I have to bribe you?
It's actually all you got to do is just follow on socials and sign up for the email list, and
That's
then
cool.
at some point during the day I'll pick the winner and randomly, obviously. And it's actually a JHS pedal. It's one of the ones that I used on a record recently,
Very cool.
and yeah, 3 hours in the studio to or a free drum program, one of the two.
That's very, very cool, man.
Yeah.
Sick. I'm looking forward to working with you at that festival. I'm also like I'll have my table set up and shit. I'm gonna be walking around. I have a drone that I plan on using, getting some cool video footage.
Nice.
I'm so hyped for this festival, but I'm working with so many people that are already gonna be there. So it's like it's gonna be a little bit of reunion at this point,
Yeah.
So
I'll be
that's-
there. He'll be there.
Yep.
Come say hey.
Absolutely.
It's we'll talk music, talk writing, talk metal, talk whatever.
Yeah.
Just like it's cool being around like-minded people.
Yeah.
If
For
you're
sure.
at that festival, you probably care about local music, and we do too.
Yeah.
Yep.
When I had Monolith Zero on here a couple of weeks ago, Nick actually tried to, well, he didn't try to. He told me that the word local represents a mindset. And ever since then, I've been trying to shake myself of that, using the word local anyway. He uses the word independent. He's like, local will keep you in a bubble. Don't keep yourself in a bubble. Local music is a myth. You're an independent artist. And I'm like,
Like that.
Yeah.
I've been
There's
trying
a lot
to
of
fit
truth
that
to that.
back into my vocabulary a little bit, and it's true.
Yeah.
Too many people feel like, oh, there's some local band.
Yeah.
Yeah, fuck it, we're independent artists.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
a
true. At the
cool
same
turn of
time, though.
phrase.
Yep.
At the same time, though, we are proud to be a Long Island heavy band.
Absolutely, fucking.
And we're proud of a lot of the Long Island heavy bands that are out here doing their thing. So, I am not ashamed to be a local
Yeah.
band in that regard.
Amen.
Raise
Man.
the metal flag.
Yeah.
See that it's a double-edged thing.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
Local, yes, it is a mindset, but local at the same time. There's no one else I'd rather be local from.
Amen.
Yeah, man.
This is a great place to be. You don't have to travel far to find good music here.
No. No.
But
Just got to catch the right night, man.
well, the right night for you guys will hopefully be that album release show.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Stay tuned on that. It's going to be
Segue.
cool. We're talking to some people, talking to some bands, talking to some venues. We're going to get that date locked in soon, and
Yeah.
that's going to be a good one.
And if you're a band that wants to play the show, hit up the boys.
Yeah, 100%.
Yep.
100%.
I think that's going to about wrap things up. So thank you guys so much for coming on here.
Thank you, man.
absolutely loved talking to you. Especially Metallica, dude. I can go for days
Yeah.
on Metallica. So
Could make a whole
Maybe-
new podcast with that if you have another 3 hours you want to lay down.
if
Yeah.
you guys want to come back on and talk Metallica for a whole episode, man, I will go for
Part
it.
2. Let's do
yeah.
it.
But thank you so much, guys. It's been an absolute pleasure having you on, and I can't wait to hear the new album, Hearts Run Dark, August 5th. Catch Dan at MGR Fest. These guys are going to be doing some crazy shit, so keep an eye out.
Yeah, man.
Thanks, brother.
Thanks, man.
guys.
Dan and Kevin, thank you so much for coming on the show and talking it up. I loved having you guys here. I can't wait for the album to drop this August, and I'm super excited for you guys to go get up on a stage again and just tear it up. You guys are so knowledgeable. You're so insightful. I loved talking to you guys and really getting to hear your stories and your experiences. And I would love to have you back on and do it all again. Maybe we'll get into like a little bit more Metallica talk next time. But go support these guys. If you're in a band and you're looking for a studio, check out Riff Haven Audio in Levittown. Dan's got a great ear for music, and he will make the sound in your head come to life. And most importantly, go check out Gaveldown. If you're a band and you think that you fit their sound, hit them up. They're booking for their album release show right now. Details are just they're in the infant stages. So if you think you'd want to play that show, hit them up. They'll talk to you. They'll work something out with you maybe. But yeah, go support Gaveldown. Everybody, thank you so much for your time and your support. Everybody who listens, all of the interactions on social media, who tells their friends to listen, I love you all, and I appreciate you more than words can say. Again, the easiest and the cheapest way to support a friend or family member's business ventures is to help get the word out. I do it for everybody in my life who starts something up. It takes zero effort and it takes zero time. Share the page, like and share a post. Tell a friend about something I said or a band that you heard on the podcast. Go get tickets to a show or stream the music that you hear. If you're watching on YouTube, obliterate that like button. It goes a long way. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope to see you again on the next one. You've been listening to the Face of Music podcast, everybody. Be well, be safe, and I will see you again soon. Peace.